Part two of the Poker Live podcast. The first podcast was shaping up to be an instant classic with this young gentleman, Mr. Ryan Depaulo. Went down last week. Unfortunately, technical issues struck the internet. Today we're back. New Poker Live podcast. GTO headquarters here, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm joining your one, aka Chicago Joey, joined today once again by a young man. Took the world by storm. I mean, it feels like, it was 10 years ago now with how fast news moves sometimes. But this man, I mean, listen, the kid's been around YouTube now for a couple years, been putting out great content, great vlogs, traveling around the whole entire United States, gambling it up, being a fucking degenerate, self-proclaimed degenerate. He's got a hardcore fan base, man. And the kid's kind of showing us that, hey, maybe he can take some of these tournaments down too. Big score last summer, big score this summer. And I feel like it's only things to come, man. I'm just excited to have him on. Officially, again, part two. I know part one, Ryan was really excited. I feel like we gave him the short end there with the 23-minute podcast. But it was 23 minutes of fire, buddy. I mean, it was hilarious. I got a lot of good feedback from people watching that 23 minutes. So it was, maybe we were onto something with that idea. But welcome back, brother. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me back. Yeah, no. It's like I can't catch a fucking break, man. It's like everything's against me. I'm like, I can't win all in. I can't win a flip. And then I'm having an all-time podcast performance and the fucking internet goes out. Like, what is this? I just want to be like that parking lot kid one time, man. And I'm good and get lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's great, dude, to be back again.
Yeah, man. How's things going, buddy? How's it been going since the whirlwind happened, since you won the bracelet? I mean, you've been doing a million different interviews. You're really working hard to get your name out there. What's been the feedback like from all the people around you in your life and from your friends, from family, from all the fans and the internet? What have kind of people been saying, man? How's it been feeling?
Yo, I think that I know too many deadbeats because mad people hitting me up for a loan. I'm joking. No, but yeah, it's funny. People in my inbox, like just fans that I'll go check once in a while, be like, yo, can you hit me with $7 on ACR? And I just reply like, eat a bag of dicks. Like, get the fuck out of here, wasting my time and then also begging. But why am I responding to that question angry? Everything's been cool. I've been trying to play every day. I'm on the leaderboard for the bootleg, not called player of the year, whatever it is for the US. If I win that, I'm going to list US 2020 WSOP.com player of the year, even though they may not call it that. I don't give a fuck. I'm like 8th for that, and that's like bonus money. So I've been trying to play every day. I've been commuting back and forth from New Jersey. I don't know, man, trying to ride out the moment. We were texting a little bit last night. I'm trying to play, even if I lose, even if I'm like minus EV, like I played PLO and I'm going to play this other PLO.
Yeah, you were talking about PLO last night. You're like, I got to play it all. Like, I got a chance to win this leaderboard. I'm like, well, you cashed. I mean, why the fuck not, right? So you played the PLO event. Do you even know how to play the great game? I mean, because I saw you in deep. I was like, Scotty, know the kid knew how to play PLO.
I don't know. I don't know if you saw any of the. I fucked up stuff, dude. After I realized I'm at a table with what's his name, Marchese. Fucking, he's like great play. I have no clue what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm like taunting this guy. I'm like, yeah, fuck you, looter. But which is his username. I don't know what I'm doing. I know that enough that I talked to Joey the Mush, who my name is used after, you played Catan with, who plays PLO and then gets too addicted and then has to stop on a cycle every couple months, realizes he's a gambling addict. He gave me some tips on the car ride there. I've watched the Mike Mattishouse stream. He claims he's maybe the best high-low player in the world. And some Jay Nandez videos. So I think I was ready to go. I ended up punting, though, I think playing blind versus blind like it was Hold'em. Like I just like raised, and then on King Queen 8, 2 clubs, I had nothing. I just like blasted flop, which is probably not a fucking thing in PLO. But
did you have an ace of clubs in your hand? Did you have a nut flush blocker at any point in time?
I don't even want to watch back the stream. I minimized the chat after I did that because I had none of that. I had no reason to do that.
Yeah, I got into my first PLO disagreement. Listen, first of all, no one really talks PLO strategy, but Deo Negreanu posted a hand where he eliminated Phil Hellmuth, and listen, he made a questionable play under the gun. He thinks it's like the most GTO open of all time. I don't have the heart to tell him it might not be, right? But it's a great game. PLO, anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. So it gives, listen, man, I don't know. It is what it is, man. Listen, let's get into this story. So last time we were covering the story, right? So when we last left, you're in the parking lot, you're eating food, you're eating the Burger King, you're getting approached by the police, say like, what the hell are you doing here, parking lot here, kid? And you're Mitsubishi. You're playing a game of skate with, and I don't know exactly what this game is. Is this a mobile game you were playing? So you said you're playing a game of SKATE with your actual skateboard. So that's what I wanted to know. did a kid approach you in the park? How did this happen? Like, I didn't understand, because you're playing on your laptop and then you get approached by a random teenager in a Whole Foods parking lot who challenges you to a skate off, and then you take time away from the tournament to go skate with the kid. It just didn't make much sense. So what the hell happened with that thing? What was going on with that?
Well, I had been looking for a teenage boy all night. I was so lonely. I was opening my window saying I have Pokemon cards and Chinese food. None of them were biting. No,
Listen,
so
they're gonna bring that up 7 years from now, and there's some crazy conspiracy theories out there right now, kid. Depends where you
Sure. This is all like what I don't even want to go further with this bit. But anyway, so no, he didn't approach me. So I saw these two kids skateboarding. I had my actual skateboard in a mobile game. You're very funny. Disrespecting me. I don't play fucking mobile games except for the great game of Degenerate in New Jersey and then apps in New York. But anyway, fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like Poker Bros and trash. Dude, fuck you for your internet restarting. I was in the all-time zone last podcast.
You'll be good,
buddy.
buddy.
I don't know how to get back there, but we'll get back there.
We'll get you
all
back.
Right, so
buddy.
listen. So I was playing. It's re-entry. I mean, yeah, late registration had just ended. And I was sitting in this car for a little bit, though. I had a decent stack, but I saw kids skateboarding on the other side of the parking lot. The stores in this mall were starting to close down, and I was fearing that the cops were going to come. / I could use a walk around because I'm just sitting in my car seat. And I was like, you know what? Let me take the skateboard out and skateboard, and then maybe if the cops see me, they'll be less likely to come bother me. And like I said last time, my fear was that I'd be in the middle of a hand, or my fear was that I'm not even allowed to be there. I didn't even know if I had what the law is. I don't fucking know if you're allowed to just sit in a parking lot infinity. Could I just live there if I had an RV? What the fuck? I don't know. So maybe. I see these kids skateboarding, take my skateboard out. I'm playing on the phone. I switch from the laptop to the phone. It totally loses me focus on the tournament. And then one of the kids skates over and is like, sup? And I'm like, what's up? And then 5 minutes later, we end up, I skate over to them. Yeah, I'm just playing shit on my phone, blah, blah, blah. And then we played a game of skate, which is horse with skateboard tricks. So it's I manual 2 parking spaces, nose manual 2 parking spaces. If he doesn't do it, he gets S. And that's what skate is.
Makes sense. So you end up playing skate with this kid. I'm dropping chips over here. So you end up, whoa, we've seen this before. Listen, I watched a lot of Mike Paulson replays. And I remember one time he grabbed a fly out of the air, snatched the fly out of the air. The guy's like fucking Spider-Man with the flies over there.
Yo, I ordered the leather fly swatter. I should fucking use it.
Okay, you actually have a fly swatter. Okay,
this looks like a Wendy's beef patty.
Why do you have that? Is that you actually have a lot of flies there?
Well, our screens, yeah. If you could see my screen here, it looks like a zombie apocalypse almost of bugs trying to get in. I don't know, New York City. We live above a grocery store. It's fucked up. I can't wait to move out of here as soon as this lease is over.
So where you stay? You stay in Manhattan, you said?
Yeah, Manhattan on the Upper East Side.
Yeah. How do you like living there?
Well,
I mean, right now, obviously, it's a lot different if things are shut down and kind of closed down and with the masks like that. But how do you normally like living there?
Normally, I've loved it. I've grew up here. I feel like I've always thought that I was like a pickled cucumber who couldn't go backwards, right? It's there's all this stimulation. I always felt jealous that people could move from Alabama to here. I was like, there's no going back, though. Once you're raised here, I can't ever go to Alabama. But now I feel different. But it's a large part of that is probably because of poker online and just I can do the work I'm doing, if you call making fucking silly vlogs and playing poker work, from not New York City right now that I don't need to do my day job anymore, which I'm very grateful for. So I'm out, but I love it. But it's also you pay way too much to live in no space. It sucks.
Yeah, I think so you've been doing a lot of traveling. I mean, we're going to kind of back to the story, the parking lot
sorry.
story.
Yeah. You structure this, dude. I can be all over the place. I'll let you be my fucking guide. I'm a guest in your house.
Well, I mean, I love this subject as well, too, right? Because just talking about how your perspective changes once you have more opportunity out there. So with poker and with sponsorships and with an audience and with a vlog comes a lot of opportunity for somebody like you to take advantage of, whereas before you may never even considered that. And now you're traveling these different places, you're staying in hotels, maybe hotels are paying you to come out there. It's kind of a different world. You're like, oh, well, I don't actually need to live in New York City. So now I can say, okay, what kind of environment best suits me? Is it something more quiet? Is it something like that, Alabama? I mean, you got a lot of family in New Jersey, though, with your girlfriend. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to her mom. Shout out Joey's a mush. Shout out Tom. And there's a lot of people around. You got a lot of people around you, right? So that could be one of those things that makes it hard to want to leave, is that you maybe want to get away and try something new, but at the same time, you don't want to leave family and leave friends.
Right, which is why Jersey's a good in between, because there's Atlantic City if live poker ever reopens. There's Atlantic City. There's this legal online poker, so just another on top of like America's Card Room or where I normally play. There's also, obviously the World Series of Poker and other legal sites that maybe they'll grow as other states open and the space. Yeah, but it's interesting. Yeah, you're right. This is new. Like this is it's not just like I realized all of a sudden New York City sucks. It always sucked equally or not. I just have more opportunity that I'm more of a free agent, which is fucking awesome. So. Yeah, keep gassing me up. But you're right, man. It's so stupid, dude. New York is fucking retarded. Like, how do they not make online poker legal everywhere? You're gonna literally lose people. It's like all else equal, I would rather live here probably than New Jersey, probably even with the rents, even with all that, maybe like if everything was equal. But it's just like this stupid law that'll take them 5 minutes to do. They're just not bothering to whatever. This is another rant even.
Yeah, I mean the whole entire legality of everything is this very political thing, and we see it moving slowly with things in more states. Michigan coming in, and more states are going to be having these interstate be able to play together. So I think that it will change. It's just going to take some time, but in the meantime, we still do have options. There are some other sites out there where people are playing. We mentioned the apps. There's Global. People play in ACR, of course. That's your home base, and like kind of let's go back to the parking lot story. So you're in the parking lot, and I think it's like you end up playing skateboard with the kid, and then you're still in the parking lot for like another 6 hours. So
yeah,
you were just playing on your phone, and you mentioned last time you had an issue where you couldn't actually raise more than the minimum, right? So we talked about that last time. I was thinking about that more. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. First of all, that you'd be playing a World Series of Poker event, and you couldn't raise for more than the minimum because of how the application was set up, right?
Dude, three-handed. Like this has got to be the biggest EV disconnect spot maybe ever, or error, or I don't even know. It doesn't feel that way because I'm very results oriented and I won, so we got away with it. But it's fucking horrible, man. Yeah, three-handed. I haven't watched back the stream and I don't remember because it was as bad of a mental breakdown. You see Danny Negreanu like disconnecting in the early stages when he could still re-enter. His poor dogs, right? And like we all could relate to that. Can you imagine three fucking handed and you disconnect? You again, I did this to myself. I have no one to blame but myself for being in a parking lot. I could have planned better. But the app, like I could only fold call or min raise for many hands. It was awful. And before that though, like I had cost myself an EV by lack of focus, obviously while playing skate on the phone. It was. Dude, I don't know why. There's got to be some reason that I got away with it, right? That like the poker gods hooked me up and bailed me out.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. What in kind of retrospect when you look back on this, right? Why the parking lot, right? Is that just you? Because you mentioned last time that you just thought you were going to bust early, but still, like playing in a parking lot, it's a pretty strange thing to do. Is that just like something that you do consciously? You're saying I think it'd be fun, entertaining. It'd be entertaining for the fans. Like it would just be something new, something interesting, or is that just something that you might normally do? And
Yeah, no, I mean not at all. Well, one, I wanted like a private area because if I'm going to be vlogging, I didn't want to sit in a Starbucks and be like taking my phone out and filming my computer and being like, yeah, this fucking cunt just like 3-bet me and then he got there and stuff like in public. So sorry if I'm contaminating your video now, demonetized. I'll pay. Damn that. I'm gonna have to pay you the amount you would have made on this. My bad. The other reason, dude, no, I was just doing it. It was just not a well thought out plan. Even now, even after winning a bracelet and knowing I'm gonna play every event, I didn't even know what I'm doing tomorrow night until today, and I still don't even really know. I've just been like renting car a week at a time and driving back and forth from Manhattan to New Jersey, which every single time reminds me why it sucks to live there if you have to commute to work here. It's like a bunch of traffic, parking stuff. Anyway, I just was doing it, dude. And then I just found that parking lot. The Wi-Fi was good enough, like I said. But and then the breaks are so short that I couldn't really relocate once I'm playing, right?
that's true.
And you can't drive. The action's pretty fast. I think most people, it seems, are mostly single tabling. People act so fast in these bracelet events that I get the impression they don't have many tables up, right? And the time banks aren't very long on WSOP.com. So people are folding very quickly, and the action's on you way too fast to be driving around or anything like that, playing on the phone or something. So and also that's the only way I'd be able to move anywhere else. Like my hotspot was not working well enough to play on the laptop and drive. So I really was like trapped there once I started, which I didn't really think about until I made this deep run there. And luckily there's a Burger King there to get some emergency greasy ass food late at night. But it's horrible, dude. It's the worst. It's so bad. I can't believe I pulled it off.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of the game's the game, right? Poker's poker. You play it in a parking lot, you play it at home, you play it wherever you're gonna play. Like Ace King all in is Ace King all in, right? It don't really matter where you're at. You know, when I think about this parameter, I mean, sure you need to mentally process these things sometimes, but I think that's what makes poker great, and that's what makes these tournaments great. Is like you can do some crazy shit like that and still turn $500 into $100 and some $1,000. Like I think we still see a lot of cool stories like that. And I think a lot of those stories get lost in the shuffle a lot of times, and it's good to kind of highlight things like that. I mean, even though you might say we don't recommend this at home, but that's what makes it fun, right?
Right.
I mean, it seems like you like to have a good time, you like to have fun. You're not necessarily trying to do things in the most optimal way that some people might consider it. You just kind of go out there and try to do your own thing and make it a good time.
Yeah. That's totally accurate, and that's why I think that I'm a good story. Even Colossus run last year, I think that I was a great story too, because for those who don't know, I finished third in the Colossus last year, and I at that point, and even almost now, consider myself a recreational player who's just not that bad, right? It's like I don't think I'm a pro poker player. I don't even know if I had it in me. Like if I was warped to an alternate universe where I had no notoriety in the poker world and only my poker skill to make it, I don't think I would be able to. Perhaps maybe I would be able to, but I would be miserable and barely be able to make it, because one punt just undercuts all these good plays beforehand, and I'm so capable of like just blowing up and fucking off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I have it in me. However, you know, there's many punts that get through, and when a series of them get through in a row and then you win a bracelet, it's a great story. But also because of that, like me and Ron McMillan or whatever, that's the dream. It's super cool. And so it's a mix of like trying not to suck and then straight luck. But it's, yeah, that is why poker is so exciting to people, because anyone can win. You know, anyone has a chance, even if your chance is less. Like, it's not fun to I don't ever want to know. I was turned off from Hold'em for a while because I feared that it was solved. Like Doug Polk, I was watching a bunch of his videos a while ago, and the way he was talking about them, like before getting back into the game, was as if poker were solved. He made clear in sometimes that it's not,
Right.
But you know, like just being on the outskirts and hearing about all the GTO like stuff and my feelings that all these plays were so standard, it sort of lost its magic to me before getting into it in the last 2 years. And then now I realize that there's so much fun to be had, so much fun still in exploiting people. Just the GTO framework is like a framework, right? And you still can make more money exploiting people, and that's so much more fun, right? And it's great in these events too that they're not just sort of a tangent, but that they're not moving your tables a lot, right? Other sites, I sit down in a tournament and I'm getting switch tables like all the time. And at WSOP.com, these events have been super cool. Maybe because I'm registering early and I normally don't is probably a large reason for that. But it's worth it. Like I look up my table on Pro Poker Labs or whatever. I like try to get table reads. I'd never really do that so much online when I'm playing on America's Card Room. Part of the reason because I know the people, but all that stuff is you can't like robot that shit, right? You can't robot exploits against specific people, and that magic is still really fun. And like some guy with no knowledge of any of the math can just be like, I think he's gonna fold, I'm gonna raise, and it'll work, you know, like once in a while. And that's what's so cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of what happened is a lot of the people who became the loudest voices are also incentivized to teach you a certain strategy because they're coaches and they're teachers. So they're going to tell you should play like this and this is the way it has to be done because that's what their business model is. Their business model is to make you feel inferior about the way that you approach poker and make you think the only way to play poker is this certain way. And that's certainly true. That can be, but it doesn't need to be that way. And you don't necessarily have to be playing these optimal decisions all the time. You can play however you want to play, and you can still win. You can still have a good time. Will you win more in the long term, possibly playing a better strategy? Most likely, yes, right? But at the same time, it isn't a necessary requirement. Not everybody's a professional. I think a lot of these people who are coaches assume that everyone wants to be a professional, and that's not true. People just want to have a good time and play for fun. Like, I want to see a fun coaching site, like how to have a good time, right? Three-barreling people with nothing. I mean, that's pretty fun to me. Like those are what make poker a lot of fun. And I think a lot of the obsession, like you said, you thought it was this way and that way, and it really isn't that way. There's still a lot of players who are attracted to these events who have just like to have a good time. And I think that's what's really fun about these tournaments I'm seeing is that it's different at Cash Game. You don't find that as much on public sites. You find that a lot on private sites where people like to have a good time, but it's different for tournaments. So I'm coming around to the idea, man. They're kind of fun. I mean, it seems like you enjoy playing them, right?
Yeah, I mean they're heartbreaking like 99% of the time, but then they're fucking amazing when and then even still it's like just being deep is so exciting even if you bust out. That like degenerate rush of like you pay your entry fee. Also, if you don't have that big a bankroll, it's fun early on, because for me, it was no sweat. If I thought a spot was good, I've already paid for these chips. It's like I might as well just fully use them, leverage them the maximum I think I know how. I've already paid my entry fee. I can't return my chips, so I might as well. Whereas in a cash game, if you're as degenerate as me and you're overfiring above what should be your life bankroll, or your wife lets you go to Vegas for the weekend and you have this budget, like once you're in a tournament, you might as well just go with it, right? So in that way, I think it's more fun too. But it's so much harder to know. Like I could just suck and not know for a couple years now because I will be up money, right? I could just like call myself a pro and just be like losing a little bit over the long run, or like not even beating rake. So it's so hard to know like if you're good or not, or like that's sort of a different point. But tournaments are very degenerate. Also fighting for antes. Like I don't know how cash game players, like I cannot imagine being blind versus blind and just being like, you want to chop? It's like, yo, fuck that. Like I want to play, man. I want to play like fucking like queen four off, like it's the nuts, blind versus blind and stuff.
Yeah. So people in the chat are talking about your girlfriend Katie, and what was it like when you went home and you come in the front door? I mean, would you come in the door at 8 a.m. and you tell her that you won the World Series poker bracelet? What was her reaction? Was she excited? Was she jumping up and down? Did she tell you to shut up? Did you guys go, I know you got the pegging thing. I got to talk about that too. Like what?
She wasn't that. Well, first I was trying to trick her. I like woke her up at 8:30 in the morning when I got home, and I was like, "Hey, baby, I busted. I stone bubbled. I lost 3 bullets, $1,500." And she's like, "What? No, you didn't." And I was like, "No, I won." And I have this filmed for my vlog that'll come out like maybe next week now at this point. But she was excited, but then she fell back asleep for 2 hours. And then when she woke up, she was like all over the internet, like so super excited with me. But it was pretty cool. It takes a lot for her to get excited at this point because she's seen the degenerate swings. But I like that she's not that interested in it to an extent, right? It's like a good balance. I wish she would understand more the nature that I'm not crying wolf when I'm like deep in a tournament and I'm like, this could be big. And then most of the time it's not. Like,
Right.
It's like, when I'm final 27, I'm only going to win 1 out of 27 times, but it's still really exciting and worth being like, sorry, all right, I'm not coming to bed right now. I'm deep in this shit,
Mm-hmm.
And to her, it seems like if you know nothing of poker, it's like, why does everything seem like a sweat?
So how do you feel like the relationship works with you sort of being all over the place, traveling a lot, and I think you're traveling more before, but playing a lot, streaming here randomly, going deep in tournaments, playing until 6 a.m. How do you think the relationship works out with you keeping this chaotic lifestyle?
Well, we're working it in. Streaming has torn our relationship apart. No, I'm being a little facetious, but she works as a nurse in the ER here, and we live in Manhattan, so she can hear everything, and I'll not be able to help myself screaming late at night, winning flips and stuff, and then wake her up. And one night, there's a night in stream, she's like throwing my clothes out of the door, and then so people in my stream will be like, "Oh, you're on the couch tonight." But no, we're gonna move to New Jersey, have a house. Like we'll work it out. She's super supportive, ultimately. But I don't think that we're working it out, right? It's like any new relationship. This is maybe I should have a more thought out answer, but it's like we're taking it as it goes, right? I didn't know I was gonna play every fucking event in this month until I was like, oh, I'm on the leaderboard and I have incentive to be more part of it, right? And I like for my own notoriety, and I almost feel like a fun responsibility because so many people are sweating me and going to Jeff Platt stream at night and Twitch and being like, there's a command RDP to see where I busted in that night's tournament.
Right.
And it's also so much fun. But now it's like, so this month, it's like, this is not what she thought that I'd be out all month, but it's like, yo, do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then I have to balance it. I have to not just do like I did in quarantine, which is like every single night, just staying up, blasting above my head for tournaments that are not that I'm not even plus EV in some of them, right? Like I'm just overfiring because, there's for sure a balance.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, right? Because you have, like you said, you feel a responsibility. You're really not sure how to handle it. You're not sure how much you should be playing, right? You're kind of chasing those stories, chasing those other big scores as well too. So it's real easy to kind of lose the perspective and lose focus because you've also been working really hard at this for a couple of years now. So it's easy for you to be like, okay, well, you know, I got to hunker down and focus on this, and then maybe lose a little bit of focus on the relationship. So trying to find some ways to make time for her is something that I'm working at, and I think something that a lot of people work at with poker. And I mean, you have a big score, right? Maybe a trip's playing. You guys taking a trip? You guys gonna go someplace?
Yeah,
when you
well,
can?
for sure, I'll pay for vacation for us with the money. That's the only thing I know. I did that with Colossus. We went to Greece, but we have a week with her family at the beach, August like 8th or something,
Nice.
in New Jersey, and I'm not gonna play. I'm not even gonna touch poker there. Even her nieces now know because I've been at their house so many nights. Are like, no poker in the morning, okay? Oh, they say, please don't bring poker when you come back, like because I'm just not available, like playing, and they're coming up to me all sweet. And for though we were talking about my PLO stream the other night a little bit, but it was like my future niece was screaming upstairs for a large part of it at bedtime. They were running around. It was a lot of fun, but
So
thank God it was PLO. That's why I streamed PLO, because my best of PLO and my worst is like no different.
Bang, bang. So how'd you get into poker, man? How'd you start playing? When like how'd you get into the vlog stuff? Was somebody inspire you? Did you see a story? What was sort of the progression like for you to even start making content and start playing more?
Well, going back, I guess I'd always been a little bit interested in poker, like played micro stakes, I guess, before Black Friday and stuff like that, and be in and out involved with it, like most recreationals, I'd say, in general. They don't just like stay in love with it recreationally for years. But anyway, so Black Friday happened. I like lost interest, came back to it, and then mostly through the vlog, which started as just I want to make videos. It was purely starting with content, and then gambling was just something like I happened to do. And then one of my early vlogs, when I was just throwing trash up on YouTube and sawing what stuck or what worked, all of those videos now I look back at like these were all pretty bad. But the one of the first ones, Joey the Mush, this is his one claim to fame. He won 4 video poker jackpots in a weekend. It's like our first vlog of this. And one that probably ruined him, and I think he legitimately thought for a long time, and maybe to this day, that video poker is theoretically beatable. It totally ruined his brain. But from there, I started making gambling vlogs, and then being like, oh, well, if I'm gonna do this more and more, I should not just like know that I'm guaranteed to lose. Let me get more involved in poker again, and then started to find out more that it wasn't what I feared it was. Right, like I talked about earlier, that I was like a little put off by poker because I thought from a little bit of distance away that it was a solved like GTO robotic game much more than it can be. And so as I got more involved in it, it was more and more fun. And then, you know, getting lucky, obviously twice with both 2 WSOP runs, it like helps the motivation of staying in love with poker. But that's how.
Interesting. So did you quit your job? Are you done working with your job?
Well, I got fired basically from my theater because he told me that YouTube mattered more it was clear to him that YouTube meant more to me than the job. And I was like, yeah, but what the fuck does that have to do with my performance? However, I'm not blackballed from the industry, so I don't want to say I've quit or I'm fired, because you work like for each show, you get hired for each theater. On Broadway, I worked in the box office. So shout outs to all the other treasurers, except, you know what? I'll say this now. Fuck you, Eddie. Fuck you.
So wait, so what was your job at the theater?
Actually, I take that back, Eddie. I'm sorry, I don't mean that. Let me take that back. But working in the box office, like, it's a union job, so it's like it's a great job, but literally just selling tickets half of the time, managing like reservations of people, like house seats and all this stuff. And you know, there's a ton of money in Broadway shows, like insane, like tickets are super expensive. So managing the money, you know, the unit of the box office handles all the money of ticket sales for the show. So on the higher end, figuring out that, and when you send it to TKTS, but
So you quit. So you quit doing that. You got Eddie let you go. He said YouTube cares. You matter more about YouTube. You're into YouTube more. So at that point in time, you have a sponsorship in place. Like, are you thinking, what the hell am I going to do to make money here? Like, what's sort of your thought process like once you are let go from that? I mean, because now you kind of have to make YouTube work in some ways.
Yeah, no, it was more selfish that I wanted to like hold on to that option, but I always wanted to be out. You know, I always was making content with the dream or hope, much like how any level poker player I think plays, with like the little bit of hope, whether it's in the front of their mind or back, that they can go on a streak and become pro at poker, right? Everyone I think plays poker with that, even if it's not in the front of their mind. So I was like making YouTube at the very start with the hope of being like, maybe I can get out one day, which again, I'm very grateful. It's funny to say get out because it's a job that many, many, many people would fucking love to have. It's like easy job. A monkey can be trained to do it. No offense to any of them, my coworkers, they would say the same thing, but we're just in very fortunate positions. Anyway, I was a little worried. I still am that I may need to go back and they're going to be like, yo, you said fuck you on Joe Ingram's podcast. But,
Shout out to Eddie.
whatever. Not Eddie. I could work at other theaters probably. I think other theaters might have me back.
They probably have you back. Why not?
Well, maybe they'd be like, yo, if I fire this kid, he's going to go on the biggest poker podcast and say fuck you to the camera.
You think they're watching right now? Are they out there? Should we give them a shout out right now?
Shout out, for real, Shout outs to Bill Roeder. Shout outs to TKTS. Shout outs to the other Waxmans. Oh, I shouldn't say last names, but whatever. Shout outs to fucking all these other people. Shout outs to Dawn, my boss in a video, wouldn't pay me $13. Shout outs to Louie, Teresa, Eric. Shout outs to all the people who don't hate me in the industry. I'm very grateful to you all. Shout outs to my union. Shout outs to IATSC and my father for helping like build up that union and be a part of it, and all my union thug, founding fathers that I benefit from, that have launched me into this.
Amen. I guess do these people motivate you? Does like your experience with your job motivate you to make more success out of what it is you're doing right now?
Yes. Yeah, because I saw that even in a fucking fantastic job, like a great union job that paid way more than you would think it would and was awesome, not that many hours, like an easy, great jobs, for real, that even with that, I wasn't content with like my career or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that I was like, there's just no way I can not be passionate about what I do, I think, and be happy. Or I thought that at the worst, I could be happy if I had to do that, but there was some side hope, right? That at least I'd be making videos on the side, even if it never panned out. Or like, say you're an actor, it's like at least you go on auditions on the weekends and you have some hope. Mm-hmm. For me, it did show me that, and it motivated me that even at the most amazing, I can still be like a discontented fuck, you know what I mean? And now it motivates me, not in any type of like spiteful way, just I think I would struggle even harder now with authority there than I did in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. Like it would be very easy for me to go back and then be told something I don't like, which I'm way more prone to than I should be, like a crazy person. But I'd go back and be like, I don't need this, I'm out. Even if I did need it, I'd probably fuck myself.
Yeah, I think anytime you get an experience of how to make it for yourself as a business, because now you're a business and you have these sponsorship deals, you're playing poker. Playing poker could be seen as a business. Once you realize you can make money for yourself and in your own environment and be your own boss, and you can be in control of how hard you work or how little you work, I think that is a very intoxicating feeling to a lot of people out there who they want to do more of that. And I think with the internet these days, you can do more and more of that. And there's so many different ways to create a product or to create a service or to provide, right? Like a bunch of different things, whether it's in poker or outside of poker.
Yeah, so, it's a new word. This is why the mush is such a mush. Let me just say real quick, because he had an opportunity to be in charge of all my merch, any Poker Bros club he wants to fucking run off of our name. He could do so many things, and he's just a fucking mush. He just sits there and like whatever, wants free roll rides to the beach, which I will take him.
So Joey, how did he get this nickname? How did Joey get this infamous nickname he has?
So early on in trips in the vlog, he was coming with me. Dude, I'm sweating being like telling Eddie, fuck you. So I can't take that back though. So you know what? I'm all in on this career now, I reckon. But anyway, it's in the back of my mind. I've been wanting to text him during quarantine being out because I feel bad for everybody that Broadway is like out of work and stuff. Yeah. And I've been so many times so close to texting. I'm like, hey man, if you're looking for work, I need somebody to like make graphics. I'll give you $5 an hour just to be a shithead to him. But because he was more evil. I'm not just a total ungrateful punk. Like we had our battles, and he's a real fuck. He's really fucked in the head. Like he can be super evil. So anyway, I'm not just like a total shithead. Like my other bosses recommended me to get into the union, sponsored me in, and he's firing me just to show you the difference in our relationships. He's the evil fuck. So anyway, that said, Joey was with me on a bunch of trips early on, and I would always lose when I was with him and win without him. And then I began to realize he's the source of this mushery. Then it also became more of a meme because he's like the victim guy that I think is in everybody's friend circle, like super bad beat guy. He sends PLO hand histories where you would laugh at anyone. He will get it in thinking he's ahead, be like, oh, can you believe this guy got there? And we're like, yo, did you even know the odds? You were behind. He swears he never won a live flip until like last year ever in Hold'em history. So he's just a mush, you know?
That makes sense. So is he not winning? Is he a winning player? It sounds like he needs some coaching. Should I give him some PLO coaching? Like, what do you think about what should we do?
Yo, his instincts are so good. A long time ago, he not ghosted me. Well, he ghosted me in a poker session in Poker Bros, which is moral, because it was also years ago, PP Poker. Whatever, fuck it. Joey the Mush ghosting you is not a big threat. It's not like Jungle Man. But anyway, he was watching me playing and telling me how he thinks about hands and PLO. And he couldn't explain why. Like, he knew, he was like, oh, yeah, you just got to pot it here. And I was like, why? He was like, they always fucking pay. I mean, whatever. They always fucking pay. Like his instincts were right, but he could not articulate anything on why he was doing that. Mm-hmm. And then in his own journey, he'll play again, get too obsessed with it. Like, I think it happens to many poker players. You know, lose a couple hands, go off the deep end, overfire in stakes to try to win it back, and then he's back down. But I think that he is a good player. But yo, dude, you should coach him. I'm careful to not enable his downfall.
It's a good point. Maybe the coaching leads down some more roads where he's gambling a little bit more.
Dude, it's tough. I tell him, yo, we could do other types of videos, you know, whatever. We could do parkour videos or something.
I guess what the parkour come from, right? So parkour, is that something you do a lot? Are you jumping off the fucking buildings? Like, are you traveling to the local parkour courts? Like, what's up with the parkour?
Yeah, I sort of roll my eyes at it now because in hindsight, I would have chose a different bit, perhaps. But I didn't choose this life. It chose me. You feel me, fam? But now, like an early video, I just randomly was fucking around on the boardwalk, and then as a joke in the video, improvised, but as a joke was like, we're not here to gamble, actually. We're doing parkour. And I just yelled parkour and jumped off a thing. This is apparently a bit in The Office, which I don't watch, and I would never steal a bit, and certainly not to this extent or whatever. But so I did some cool parkour jumps. It was a funny moment in the video. And then the next video, people were like, yo, where's the parkour at? What the fuck? No parkour? And I was like, yo, they want parkour. I'm going to start having to give the people what they want. Cause I'm like I said, you know, I'm a clown spinning plates here, juggling, whatever, you know, like I'm with it. But now I don't I don't know how to respond to it when people say parkour. I love it. I love people saying hello to me, but it's not like it's just like, yo, parkour. I'm like, hello.
It's like when people yell Poppy at me walking through play, like Poppy, you know, it's just kind of fun. I think you kind of make it a good time. And
I don't mean to sound like a curmudgeon. It's great. No, dude, I'm fucking hype whenever anybody says hello to me or yells parkour at me. I just hope they don't expect a jump because I'm getting too fat for that. Quarantine did a number on my parkour game.
You ain't been eating the green smoothies and drinking your protein shakes and taking your cold showers and sitting in your meditation tubs or anything like that. You ain't been doing that shit?
There's a very funny tweet. Can you imagine all the poker players? So what I'm referencing is Joe Ingram. If any of you are here for me and don't follow him on Twitter. He's like probably the #1 poker Twitter follow, I reckon, right?
Oh, thank you.
I think you're the best poker account. Would you say that's fair?
Well, listen, some of these other people
don't be fucking humble.
Some of these other people think a few people are funnier. I think my Twitter is on point. I try to mix it up with a little bit of everything, right? Try to put some humor in there, put some strategy in there, put some wisdom in there, put some out of line shit in there, put some hands. I try to mix it up. My Twitter strategy is by far my best strategy on any platform. Yeah, I like Twitter the best though.
You're great on it, and you know Jamie Kerstedter's great, but I think that if they gave you best poker tweeter also, like they just didn't want you to sweep the awards at the GPI awards, but you're the GOAT. Anyway, I don't even know what the fuck I was saying. What was I saying?
We were talking about parkour.
Oh, dude, I love it, and I'm grateful for everybody, but yeah, I don't know what the hell is. I don't know what I'm saying. Oh yeah, I've been eating like an ass. Like I've been eating in the middle of the night. I've been eating whatever. This is why it's good sleeping in New Jersey because there's no like refrigerator. I feel too rude waking up at Katie's brother's house and just like eating shit in the middle of the night, even though they're literally so sweet. They're like, you know, if you want food in the middle of the night, it's here. I'm like, no, please don't tell me that. I do not need to do that anymore.
Right. So I guess the degenerate life, right? The degenerate gambler life and this sort of lifestyle you're talking about now, is that something that, like, it just seems like that's a part of you. It's a part of your personality. That's how you like living. That's how you like going upon it. And it seems like there's a lot of people out there who also like living that lifestyle too. So what is it about the lifestyle that appeals to you?
Well, what do you mean? Like, what would you say about the degenerate life that I'm like, sort of like, hot mess, as they would say, or something like this.
Yeah, kind of the way you're approaching things, right? You're already talking about your quarantine, getting a lot of line, your sleep schedule, obviously a lot of line. I used to live this exact same lifestyle, so I can certainly understand the allure of it too. It was a lot of fun for a very long time. So I'm always curious, right? What is it about it that appeals to you? For me, what appealed about it was just I just liked staying up to whenever. I liked being able to do what I wanted to do. I liked staying up till 6 a.m. I liked eating fast food. But I also didn't really know any better. I didn't know like what a different lifestyle could be like or why it might be better, why it might be worse. But I really had some of my most enjoyable times in my life, kind of living that life and just not really having much of a worry for almost anything in some ways.
Yeah, I'm like a degenerate light though, I would say, because I've been like me full I've done fully what I want to do, and I'll like probably be dead in like a week if I just fully, especially after winning this, like, you know, if you catch my drift. But I would have been 7 years ago having this win probably a favorite to OD. And now I'm like a super big underdog to OD. Still alive like anybody is, you know, any degenerate poker player. But I'm joking sort of about a serious topic. But no, I think that I just am doing this stuff. I don't feel a draw to the degenerate life. Like, this life chose me, you know what I'm saying? Just destiny's just unfold. But I like the parking lot thing. Like, I was just doing it, and then after realized what a funny storyline it was. I don't mean to be, maybe sometimes. No, I don't. I was going to say how much honestly I'm being honest and how much is character and how much I'm gambling more or less for the vlog or for like this image I'm trying to build. And I think that it's honestly less as time goes on. Am I trying to, you know, gamble as I think I should? If that even was happening a lot before, I think that I'll play video poker for too long and not even film it now. So I may be getting. I don't know if this answers your fucking question, man.
No, I mean, that's the question. I mean, you mentioned about the whole drug-related kind of stuff like that. I mean, I think a lot of people out there have gone through spurts where they've used drugs, whether it's for recreation or whether it's to soothe any sort of pain they have or to feel better. I mean, there's a lot of reasons out there, right? It's a very enjoyable experience for a lot of people out there too. So do you feel like
I think for everybody it's enjoyable the first couple times at least. You're like, right. It's a very enjoyable experience. We recommend trying drugs, but you must get sober.
We definitely don't for a lot of people out there, right? But I think that's what happens is that you get into that and it becomes a habit. It becomes your way of coping with things, and it might not necessarily be the best way for a lot of people out there. And you mentioned yourself 7 years ago, if you had this big score, something different might have happened to you. So do you feel like as you get older in your life, you're looking to, I guess, degenerate light? Are you looking to take the degenerate light and go from not degenerate at all? Is that a goal that you might have for
no, it's just reconstructing it, right? Like as far as like substances, like I already fucked that up. So I'm done. No problem. No sweat. I'm good. But you know what I mean? Like I had but as far as like risk taking and money and not sleeping and being a mess and being like, you know what I mean? Being a spaz with all this other like crazy shit. I want to structure it better where I can have a family. Maybe the ultimate goal, right, would be like, because I want a family, but I also want to be this ridiculous risk-taking fucking sicko just because I enjoy it. So maybe it would be like being a day trader or something where I can like, I don't have to play poker all night. I can just like be having these huge degenerate swings and excitement in the day, but I have a suit on, I'm making money, and then have a family, you know. But in all seriousness though, that I want to not, it's not like I want to do what I want to do. Fuck, dude. I don't know, man. You're asking me good questions. What is this? What is this, your job or something?
Well, I mean, I guess it's something, you know, I used to think about a lot of time in my life when I was younger, and now I'm getting a little. How old are you right now, Ryan? How old are you?
33.
33? Yeah, I mean.
How old are you?
35. You know, so
these 2 years is a lot of time.
Well, these are kind of all thoughts I'm recently been coming into just from an education process. I think once you become more educated on how you can potentially approach life differently, or if you're trying to scale your life up and maybe take on more responsibility, or if you're trying to be a better partner, then you start to say, okay, well, what are the things I'm doing in my life that I could potentially cut out? Like, what am I doing that doesn't aid to this process? And for me, it was a lot of those things. It was kind of the unhealthy sleep schedule, right? And it was just building bad habits that are really hard to break. That's been my biggest challenge, is just breaking these bad habits I built up over the years that I thought was the optimal way for me to live at the time. And now when I get a little older, I say, you know what, maybe that isn't the way. And it's something I'm experimenting with now. So I imagine that you're going to go through that, especially once you become more comfortable in your living, because now you're making some money. And now you got audience, you got a lot of options. You can kind of go anywhere you want. You can do anything you want to do. So now you might feel a little bit more at peace with, okay, well, maybe I got a lot of things to be grateful for, and I got a lot of things that I can be happy about, and maybe I can decide, do I want to approach life in a different way? And maybe you don't want to, and maybe this is the way that you like it. And I think that's a great thing too, because a lot of people out there also enjoy, right, doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah, yes. I mean, it's fluid. I want to be accountable to something or somebody. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it happened. I mean, so I guess do you anticipate your life changing a lot now that you got a big score? Because I think a lot of people ask me that question. Like before, he was kind of like the degenerate. Now he's got the big score. Like, is he still going to take those risks, or is he going to be maybe taking a little bit less risk, or what exactly?
Yeah, well, I sort of started this process last year when I finished third in the classes for 200K. I only had like half of myself because I was staked in it or whatever, but it was still enough that I like hired a coach and was like, all right, I need to get better at poker, right? And started like trying to study and became a little bit less degenerate. So I don't know, man. It's not even like I don't even think that people watch me. I don't feel any type of like I owe that character or something anything more, because it's not really a character, it's just me. It's a
Mm-hmm.
title of a channel, and maybe sometimes I'm on more than others, where you could tell maybe when we're talking before the podcast versus now, maybe I'm on a little more, and I don't like try to be or something, or maybe vlog me is a little more animated or something, but I don't think that I don't feel any like pressure to try to be any type of like degenerate or something. Like people in my Twitch stream often will be like, yo, play blackjack, and I like don't even, I just like, yo, no, like, fuck off, like I'm trying to play poker right now. I'll do it if I feel like it. I will maybe sometimes, but so I don't know if that answers your question. Like I don't know what people, I feel like people who actually like relate to my videos don't have to worry about me making them feel bad about their gambling. I won't become that much more responsible. So you can still finger point at me to your wives and be like, look, Ryan's making money and he takes all these stupid risks. You could
Mm-hmm.
still have that, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think your life's changed a lot in a lot of ways over these past couple of years, especially with the Colossus score and now with this score. And when you get a lot of attention on you, you already had attention on you to some degree, but now it might be this attention that maybe you were after for a long time, and then you start getting that attention, and that validates your effort that you put in a lot of ways, and you get money, you get the success, and you get the attention. So it's double validation, and then your goals might change, and the way you think about life changes, and it's a very like. Yeah, it's a very interesting time that you're in right now because there's just kind of so much going on. You haven't really had time to reflect on it to
Yeah, I
decide.
was gonna say
Right.
I've been playing every night, in the month of Jersey. Yeah, I've in the month of Jersey, I've been playing though every single night, commuting back and forth. I haven't had time to reflect, man. Sorry to interrupt you,
That's okay.
but it's pretty, yeah, for sure. Something about my mindset may or may not likely change about it, and I'm more proud though. Like you're saying, I've been grinding for 2 years, and I don't feel like I don't want it to sound like poker studying, even though I've made effort to make my game better. It's like much more with poker content and
Mm-hmm.
grinding. And I was like disappointed. Not that any of this is bad in any fuck way. I'm 0% complaining. But Barstool Sports like reposted the video of me winning, and I asked them in Twitter to be like, "Yo, can you just say poker vlogger or like YouTuber instead of poker player?" And they just wrote poker player, which it doesn't fucking matter. But like the rewarding part is like when I became a big enough influence for America's Card Room to make me a team pro, even though I'm not a great player, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's almost more rewarding because it's like that I've worked towards, and I'm this much of a name that I've like people have related with the content that I've like really gotten vulnerable in a lot of them too, and spent a lot of time making, which is vulnerable in itself, even if you're not exposing yourself in it. Anytime you're working hours and all this time thought about creative something and you put it out there, it could be a fictional story about aliens, but you're still like vulnerable in that way, right? And so people relating to it or even liking it and that growing is much more rewarding than, because I'm aware of how fucking lucky it is to win a tournament. This is like pretty
Mm-hmm.
absurd. So like of the proud factor of winning a bracelet, I would take like 10% of it. The thing that makes me proud is like all the people like Poker News and like Jeff Platt stream and other realizing how much my community, my people, I don't know what to call them, are with me. They're like, oh shit, this kid has a lot of fans. And that shit is so cool because I don't know why that is. Like really, I just know that I really am truly feel like I know a lot of them more than I think other people would because I put so much of myself out there. I know that I'm going very long-winded here and you interrupt me.
I can kind of explain what happens. Like a lot of times with the vlogs is that you develop a personal connection with the audience that watches you. And a lot of the audience that watches you, they become a part of your life in a lot of ways. And they think that they know you. And the more that you put yourself out there, the more that they can be connected to something, whether they relate to you or entertained by you or any of those type of things like that. And I think with you and your personality, it's much different than the other poker vloggers that we see out there, is because you approach things from a more sort of like reckless way, in that you're gambling in these different games, you're driving around these different spots, you're not necessarily going upon it in this sort of like considered optimal way. And I think a lot of people out there, you're just having fun with it. A lot of people out there can relate to that because not everyone wants to do things the optimal way and wants to be the best at what they do. They just want to have a good fucking time and they want to enjoy their life and they want to do whatever they want to do. So I think there's a combination of different things, and the way that you understand how to come across on video and just be entertaining, right? Be a personality, kind of mix it in there. It's just very unique and also very consistent. And you've had success along the way with it too. So I think a combination of different factors really play a part in the success that you've had. And I'm not surprised. A lot of these vlogs, I mean, it's a great way to get to know people. And I feel like that's what people see in you, as they get to know you and they get to know about you and they feel like they're a part of your life.
Yeah, well, because and again, interrupt me and change the subject because I know I give long fucking answers and I probably, like whenever you want, but that I for sure feel that because I reveal so much of myself and I understand like what it's like with Opie and Anthony or something like that, a radio show, or I've listened to them talk about themselves for hours and hours, that it's, you really feel like you know the person. And I know though that people who feel that way, that we have a minimum level of connection, right? Where it's like, I know that you're another degenerate. I know that at that instant, not like meeting a stranger, that we have at least this much in common, right? And so I'm much more prone to, like, I would say that 95%, there's literally only one person I can think of ever, maybe two, who have approached me of a bunch in casinos that I wouldn't be friends with. It's just like, I don't have time to be, no human has time to be friends with everybody. But I would chill with any of them. You know what I mean? Like, they're my people, it seems. So like, in that way, I think it's not, I hope this doesn't sound disingenuous because I think I'm being really genuine, but I just don't know them as well as they know me because they don't have vlogs I can fucking watch. But
Right.
it's likely that a large percentage of them, we would be friends,
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously impossible to know who people are, is because they've got to see you for hours and you've got to see them for 10 minutes sometimes. So you can't possibly get to know their life as intricate as they've gotten to know your life and your family and your friends and your relationships. So it's a pretty normal thing, and you're going to find that more and more as you meet more people, is that you feel like you want to be friends with people and you want to get to know them all and you want to give everybody your time, but then a challenge becomes is that how do you decide who to give your time to and why do you know what I mean? Like, you got to kind of...
You taught me this when you wouldn't give me your number. I was like, what the fuck, bro? I'm another vlogger. And you were like, yo, I'm very careful with, I was like, yo, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm at the poker awards with you. We were co-nominees. You're not going to give me your fucking number? And you're like, well, I like learned early that I just fuck up. If I have too many numbers, I'm not able to spread the time to people I care about, right?
Yeah.
And I have 500 unread texts, and a lot of them are from people that, like, I need to, like, it sucks that I would ever not reply to my aunt for a day or two because I'm replying to, like, no disrespect to you, Boris, my Twitch moderator and friend, but, like, my aunt should be above you, but you'll text me about poker and I'm like, we'll respond to that
right
first. It shouldn't be that way, right? But it's hard to realize that when you're in it. But dude, I'm lucky. I'm also lucky that, unlike just straight up known, I feel like people who, like, hang around or want to meet or be around, like, Phil Ivey or somebody like that, just a crusher, a known crusher, or even like the young guys, I don't even know all their names, like the top players in the world, that people would want to be around them more to, like, leech knowledge or something like that, or maybe get better at poker, right? Whereas because of what I'm putting out there, I'm not putting out there that I'm some crusher or some shit. I'm just putting out my personality. That it's like, Chris, my friend, an old coach, but he was like, it's like the George Bush thing when they were saying, oh, they want to have a beer with him. Like, they want to have a beer with me, instead of, like, no one's trying to angle me as much as I'm very lucky, dude, that I don't feel like anyone's trying to fuck me except for you deadbeats. Stop begging for money or ACR transfers in my inboxes. You're not like fucking go get a job. You shouldn't be gambling if you need to beg me for $7. And also, I'm not selling you ACR. Learn how to use Bitcoin. I love you all. I love you all though, but you could all eat
You
dicks.
get a lot of messages like this, huh?
One guy got mad. He was like, "You fucking Jew." I was like, "Yo, bro, I'm 10% Jew. But go out, fire away because I'd be killed in the Holocaust. There's enough Jewish to be killed, but not enough to be chosen person." But anyway, he got mad after I was like, "I'll pray for you. I'm not going to send you any money." I was like polite, and I meant it. Well, I didn't mean it because I didn't actually pray that night or like that week. So I never actually prayed for the guy. So I did lie, actually, you know. So in hindsight, maybe I did deserve it. And then he asked again, and I was like, "No." And then he was like, "Fuck you, you fucking Jew." And it was like, "Yo, fuck you. You don't even have a picture of your face on your Instagram, bro." This isn't a regular
conversation you have with people, right? It's just like a one-off sort of thing like that.
Yeah, not that often. Not that often. Those are just the most entertaining ones to me. Or people trying to sell sports picks to me, and they're like, "Yo, I have this great system like Steve Stevens, where I'm 18-2 in my last shit." I'm like, "Yo, get out of my inbox, you fucking scammer. I'm not working with random free roll sports pickers." I don't know what the like. I need Joey the Mush. Another thing he could have got paid to do, but he's too fucking mushy to do. I'd be like, "Yo, I'll give you $20 an hour cash while you're sitting at your other fucking job to just go through my Instagram inbox, tell me if there's important shit, and then other people reply saying it's the Mush, like, thank you, you know, we appreciate it." And he's just too mushy to do it. He just like fucking stopped one day.
Can't be bothered to do it, huh?
He can't be bothered to do it. He has too many important, like,
he's a busy guy.
Facebook rants to go on about Trump or some shit. I don't know what the fuck he.
Is that what he's doing?
But more like anti-left. He is his thing. We argue with him like it's fun.
Interesting. Yeah. Let me go through my list here. A bunch of people submitted some questions here.
Dude, this first podcast performance is so much better, guys. Please, don't, give me a break.
Well, you were still on the high at that point in time, right? Now you've done a lot of interviews. You know, you've been traveling all back and forth. You've played some tournaments. You didn't necessarily win the tournaments, so now you might just be feeling a little different.
Like easing back into cranky reg mode, you mean, or something?
Kinda, yeah. It could be like
fuck.
that, yeah.
No, I hope not.
It could be like that, yeah. I mean, it's easy to forget those big wins that we have, you know. What do you plan? Are you planning to keep saving the money? Are you gonna buy something? Like you gonna buy a car? What are you thinking, man? I know you got the rented Mitsubishi, but do you have any big plans for what you want to do?
I switched to a Dodge Charger and it fucking sucks. Like it's so bad on
Why
gas.
would you ever switch out of the fucking car you want a bracelet in, dude?
I know I'm about to go back and get it.
Are you trolling me right now? How would you ever? What are you talking? I just buy the car. Like what do you mean?
I know. You would think I fucked up, man. It was too tilting, that car. The knob, there wasn't a knob for the volume. It was only buttons on a touchscreen. It fucking sucked, which is very tilting. But I as a big, huge noob mistake. Like I know that any veteran poker player knows if you win a bracelet in a car, you stay in that car.
Yeah. Someone said his game has improved greatly. So what has been his most effective tool in getting there? Also, how does a fellow degenerate properly manage and grow a healthy bankroll?
So, all right, I guess this is one problem I have with my like image or something, is that I never know when to be serious or when people actually care for me to answer something seriously or to make a joke, right? But because I'm like probably the sharpest dude there is, that I could always make a good joke at any point in time, and I'm capable to do that. But I could go either route. But that joke wasn't even that good. So let me answer seriously though. But for real, I don't know. But I would say that my biggest tool is that just like any time I've invested, like just do something to study. That like people get overwhelmed with all the resources there are out there, I think, and they'd be like, I don't know where to study. Should I go here? Should I go there? It's like, just fucking do anything is better than nothing. I've never gotten better by clicking buttons, which is the expression that poker players use. Obviously when you're just autopiloting, like I've clicked so many buttons that I'm not entitled to click, where I don't know what I'm doing. And I always think like, oh, I'll get better by playing. And maybe that's true to some extent now that I know a little bit, or I'm a little trying to more review hands, but all of it's come from any study whatsoever is better than nothing. Just do it. Then it's hard to say, because I've gotten very lucky that through the vlog, I've made relationships with people who I may not otherwise, right? Like my first coach is a dude who does not coach people, right? He was like, yo, I have this group where we run sims together and I'm fucking them up. You need to promise me that if I coach you, you're never going to play like this stakes in this part of the country for a couple years because you may just like come back and fuck us. And I'm like, yo, done. Like, I didn't understand the value of knowledge in a zero-sum game like this. Either way, I got very lucky with him. There's a lot of like phony ass bootleg coaches, I imagine, out there, and I've heard. And then now Rob Bustin' Balls, Rob Kuhn, who is Poker Guru 740 on Twitch, and he's leading the leaderboard in the WSOP. He's now coaching me in the open understanding, and he's been coaching me for the past couple months, that I am a like marketing pawn happily for his upcoming site, elitepokercoaching.com or whatever. But don't go there yet, guys. Please wait until I get my affiliate code so I could get paid through it. Like, don't just go there right now, please. I think I'm serious with that comment. I don't know, but he's been coaching me and he's helped me a lot. But both of those relationships were because of the vlog and my notoriety, I'd say. So It's hard to like give a roadmap to anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, basically what your roadmap is you're describing is that you need to meet people who can help you out. I mean, that's what you're saying, right? And of course, it's easier once you have more visibility and attention to find people who are attracted to that, whether they see you as somebody that they just like and they want to help, or they like your personality, or they view you as a marketing tool, right? I mean, basically, how these coaching sites work is that there's so many coaching sites now. So what they're all doing is they're competing for marketing, and they're going to look around and say, okay, who has the attention? And people like you, people like myself, we have the attention. So they're going to come to us and say, okay, we're going to offer you these type of deals. And that makes us in good position to negotiate because we have a lot of leverage in these situations like that. Because without our attention, we can give that attention to someplace else. But if we promote these training sites or these training tools, we're going to drive a lot of traffic there with our audiences. So just remember that you're in an advantageous position anytime it comes to negotiating with one of these companies, especially ones that have a bigger budget and also ones who it's more valuable to attract customers to them. So for you, it's a good position to be in with the training sites, and it's a very fair trade in that you get coaching from a great player and you also get better, right? It's like the best way to get better in some ways is to get coaching. So yeah, what you're saying is try to find some good coaching, and that's challenge, right? You can kind of see, okay, well, this guy's a top guy here. Everyone knows him. He's been around the community for a long time. This is a good person to get coaching from. But you mentioned there's a lot of people out there who aren't good coaches. So that's definitely a challenge, right? It's really hard to find a good group of people to study with that run sims, which is the way to get better right now. It's a combination of group study, coaching, reviewing your play, and it's just a lot of deliberate learning and deliberate focus along the way with other people who also know what they're doing. So it's a group effort plus a mindful effort. And if you can able to do that, you can have success with it.
Yeah, I think that it's like anything, like it's so much because of putting my efforts in the vlog and YouTube. Like, I'm not just like a professional poker player or trying to be or whatever, but if I were, then I would be doing a lot more. I've somewhat outsourced, I guess, a lot of the study by having coaches, so to speak, where, you know, because a lot of the time is focused on other stuff. But I would say for sure that, running sims, like if you just like pick a hand and then run one simulation a day on Pile Solver or something and try to understand a spot, it could go from there. I don't know. And then let me clarify on Rob that he and I were friends before because we're both America's Card Room Team Pro. Like, he's not just wasn't totally like some like dude in a suit, like being like, oh, let me, and that was the part of working with that site that I was by far the most interested in. I don't care how much, well, I do care, but you know, I wasn't concerned or thinking about how much affiliate money theoretically I could make in the future. It was like, yo, his hours of personal going through my entire tournaments in my poker tracker and going over shit with me is much more valuable to me, or I'm much more interested in that, you know?
So what do you think about ACR? Obviously, I've had my own things with ACR in the past with security on the site, with the issues on the site. What are your thoughts on with ACR and representing them?
I think that if you all had vlogs and got paid enough, you'd represent anything. No, I'm joking. I think that I thought a lot about it at first when I was first working with them, and we could get into this. It's fun to talk about. And I think both of us can have a sane, this isn't like someone on the right wing and someone on the left wing about to have a conversation where we don't hear each other. I think there's like some sane middle ground here, especially maybe since they've done some of the changes that you were talking about.
Yeah,
like,
they made a lot of changes since. I mean, I still talk with Phil Nagy, so it's not like I don't talk with Phil. I don't know, you know what I mean? So I'm pretty aware of kind of what they've tried to do, and I understand the challenge that they have, and I understand their infrastructure more and the structure of their business more, and the weak and the strong points of their business and the weak and the strong points potentially of Phil as a leader. So I think I have a lot more understanding of the good and bad going on with ACR and the rest of the industry at scale. So I think I look at it differently now than I looked at it a couple years ago.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Views like it's like a lot of the times, the more you know about a topic, I find the less like one-sided my
Right.
opinion will be. But also they have made changes, but it's both of those factors. But so when I first started, was about to work with them, and it wasn't even official work with. Like we very like casually dated at first, I'd say. Before now, we're like fucking, or we're married basically. I'm a team pro. We're married.
Okay.
I shouldn't say we're fucking. They would feel disrespected. We passed the casual sex phase, but so they were gonna have me out
No
to their
condom,
cage.
or what are we doing? Are we pulling out, or what's
It took me a little bit to
Okay.
ask them for no condom. You know what I mean? They were a little uneasy about it, but now we're
Okay.
if we have a baby, we
I
don't
feel like it
mind.
was their idea. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, they gambled correctly on me. They saw the greatness that would become me. But so when I first was going to work with them, though, I was going to the cage in Costa Rica. They'd run a live event, which is awesome. It's like a $5,000 timed cash game for 2 days. It's like a hybrid format, and you can win satellites to it whenever they're doing it again on their site or whatever. By the way, use sign up code Gambler, guys. Just let me get, even though I just won all the money and shit, use sign up code Gambler if you're going to sign up for America's Card Room after this conversation, or even now, and then come back to this conversation. Let me show that. But the fucking thing is that I was starting to work with them, and I was asking Jeff Boski, who's their first team pro, who's a friend of mine at this point, or we were getting to know each other. I was like, yo, why are people so anti-ACR? Can you like walk me through how you came to the conclusion to work with them versus not? And then he explained to me, he was like, well, okay, so yeah, they have like some bots or some security concerns of colluding or whatever, like many sites may or may not to a degree. But he was like, okay, do I think the money's safe, is what he said. And he's like, I do. You could debate this, but do you think the money's safe? That they're being honest with that? Yes. Is there accusations of super users, which is like another level, of course, of cheating than not policing cheating, which I think is not in their best interest anyway to begin with, but we'll get into that maybe in a minute. And then the third thing was something else, are you getting paid? No, it wasn't something selfish like that. But basically it was just like, do you think the money's safe? Do you think they're super users? And then it's like, do you think it's intentional, the things that people are saying? And then I posted on Reddit even a while ago, it's probably there. I was like, hey guys, I'm concerned. Like, what do you guys think in the poker community? Why are people so anti-ACR? And it's hard to filter through the like, oh, they took this long to pay me out, or this, or like a lot of the stuff that was just what they saw as immoral was really just incompetence, right? Or like misdirected resources there, which I understand the frustration because we have so few choices in America, right?
Right.
But I had already been playing there as well. Like I love their tournaments, and I'd been playing there before I started working with them. So again, I'm being very long-winded. You can like clarify or hone in where you want to like talk about this more, but that's how I started to be like, oh, I'm fully cool with starting a relationship with them. And then as I've gotten to know them, been more and more cool.
Yeah, I think how I start a relationship is a similar way, right? I started doing content. They approached me about doing some working with them because I played on the site. It was one of the sites I played on out of the few of them. So I started doing content with them, and then what I started realizing was I thought like the Phil Nagy guy was saying he was doing these things and he would do them, and then I realized like that's not really happening, and that the whole entire PLO cash game ecosystem was infested with bots at every single level. They were playing around the clock. You'd have to be the most incompetent person at your job in the history of security to not be able to police these people, and under the guise of, well, they're not they're real players. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. So what I realized was that I was playing tens of thousands of hands with these players, and then I got other reports going down of potential collusion. I suspected there was possible super using going on the site as well too at the PLO.
I didn't know that. Sorry, you're going.
Right.
I didn't know you thought they were super using.
Yeah, that's what I suspected, right? And he said, okay, well, there are bots in every site. And to me, it just seemed like a pure incompetence play on security. And I think that a lot of those issues they've worked at those issues, right? I mean, listen, there's a big story about to come out too. I haven't talked about it at all because it's very private, but there's some crazy shit that's about to come out about online poker in general that I'm just deciding how I'm going to handle the situation. And ACR is definitely one of the sites that's involved. I'm sure they're aware of what's happening now. But with what I've seen from them is that, and then when you study other places, well, there are a lot of bots out there. It's hard to stop, but that's when you at least try with the security. And I think one big thing ACR recently, and I try to really pay too much attention about them because I get messages all the time about people missing money. They didn't get paid out the right prices.
Shit that's not actually an error that I see on Twitter. People tag you like, oh, Joe, could you fix this? And it's like, yo, what? You did the gamble red on black after you lost the tournament. That's not my fault.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've got to figure out what the hell I'm going to pay attention. There's so much to pay attention to. I worried about ACR for a while. I think they've done a lot of good things to try to clean things up. They're also providing a living for a lot of people out there. They're giving people a chance to make a career like yourself, like Jeff Boski, like Lon Carr, like a lot of these guys who are able to support their life through streaming and build up a brand, and they're able to give these stormtroopers at least an opportunity to stream and play poker. And I understand it's advantageous marketing for ACR to have these people out there promoting their site around the clock, so it's good to get more people in that way. But they are providing a place to play big tournaments. So when I say like, well, Americans should have a chance to play poker, well, that's one of their options. I just see a lot of the shitty things that are going on too, and I say from a competence standpoint, like, why don't they clean these things up? I also understand it's challenging to do those things sometimes, and it's still a work in progress. So I think you can look at it from both type of ways. I can see the positive, I can see the negative. I can hope that they become a great option for players out there, and hope they get some of these fucking issues figured out with paying out people proper amounts, because I can only imagine how much money they're taking from people out there that don't have Twitter and that aren't aware that they got shortchanged in some of these tournaments. And it's frustrating for me to see as someone who is a big promoter of the game. So I think that's where I stand on the situation. But I also can acknowledge a lot of the positives that they do and that they provide for the community as well too.
Well, that's very sane of you. But so what you mean, people with the money when a tournament gets canceled and then they don't get refunded the correct amount or whatever?
I get messages all the time about all different types of things, right? Whether they leave a table, whether it's related to tournaments, a lot of these cancellation things that go down, that's been a big issue for some people out there too. So
I mean,
luckily,
that sucks, dude. Spend your entire Sunday, plan your day, plan your schedule, and then the shit crashes. It really fucking blows. Like, I understand, and I understand. Worse than that, I think sorry, again, I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry, man. What do you want to finish your point before?
No, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much sum up my point there, right? I try to think about it too much anymore. I think it just, right.
It's worth talking about, though. And well, you did say to Rob Young, though, that you think that it was worth going on and on and on about because you got changes implemented. Right? I mean,
right. I think they become a better option. Definitely. I think since I first, whether there's still bots there, I haven't looked at the PLO specifically. I'm sure there are. I've seen from other people that there are, right? So I don't really know how much work they've done in that area. I'm sure it could be more work. And I see what the other sites do. The other sites do a much better job of policing that. And the cheaters are just smarter about how they do things. It's really easy to cheat.
Yeah, I would never play PLO Cash on any website. And I don't lie, like in any of the stuff I do to tell people about America's Card Room. Mm-hmm. Maybe I haven't played on enough websites, but like I only can recommend what I play, which are their tournaments there, which are fun as fuck. And I know many people who are not sponsored by them who make a living off of playing America's Card Room tournaments, right? In a large part of their poker profile income, right? And I think that the tournaments, and obviously the larger the field, the better. But I am afraid of cash just because of being aware of collusion or bots or whatever it is on any site. Maybe, of course, some must be worse than others, and some sites must be better than others at cracking down on it. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you could just be sitting there, no site can police me from opening a PLO cash game, picking my table, somebody else sits there, and we have Skype on the phone. Like, you could have it not running on the same computer even. Right. You could just be sitting there card sharing, and you have fucking 4 cards each. Like, I would be terrified to play PLO cash on anything other than like a home game app where like the Jungle Man ghosting shit. But even that got ghosted, so I don't know. But
it's tough, man. I mean, it's real tough. I mean, I thought about this.
It sucks, though. It fucking sucks for you, though. It sucks that's the reality of what it could be. You know what I mean? You never know.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm looking here. And I saw this coming years ago with cash. And I mean, it's basically now it's like a fish hunter, right? You're just going, you're hunting the soft games, and you can play in some of these public sites. And no matter what the regulars want to debate in terms of what's happening at the higher stakes cash games, I mean, a lot of people are using assistance, whether they want to talk about it or not. And maybe it's not a problem. It is a problem, and you can still win. You can't win without it. Some spots are solved. Some spots aren't solved. It's just, it doesn't seem like a very enjoyable way to try to go upon making a living in having to compete in that environment for me personally when I see that. So the best ways to play cash games now are just to go hunting, right? You go hunting in these games, you play for fun, you play against other players having for fun, and try to build something else for yourself, which is kind of what I'm doing. And then I'm also looking at these tournaments, and I really wish I would have gotten to tournaments a long time ago, but I was always so anti-tournament because it just seemed like such a easier game in a lot of ways. And it was also, you had to play these 12-hour sessions. I just didn't necessarily, even though I always played long sessions. So maybe tournaments were always meant for me. I just never knew it.
It's funny. No, it does suck for life as far as like the length of time tournaments take. Like, I often on ACR will max late reg Even though obviously my expected value is less. It's like 10 big blinds. Fuck it. I don't want to sit here for infinite hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can never schedule stuff. Like your schedule is at the mercy of like whatever the live tournament or online tournament schedule is. You're fucking. There's a lot of problems, but then there's the degenerate runs. Like you can't win a bracelet in a parking lot if you play cash games. You know what I mean? You got to play tournaments to do that. So
Yeah, the
I don't
thing
know,
is,
man.
you can't win bracelets at cash games. I mean, from like I see why the poker world is going to more tournaments. It's always been easier to follow and easier to play. And then
Is that a
also,
change that's happening? Just that's you see the poker world going towards more tournaments?
well, I think it was always like that, but what happened was there was a lot of high stakes cash for a number of years, so there was more attention brought on high stakes cash because of all the high stakes cash games. And as the high stakes cash game world has gone away a little bit and there's less of a focus on that, more of the focus is now being put on the tournament world. So all the content being created outside of shows like Live at the Bike and Poker After Dark are mainly tournaments. So if the only content you're seeing as a new fan is tournaments, then you're going to be attracted to play tournaments. So luckily the vloggers have kind of kept cash alive and creating vlogs like Andrew and Brad playing cash game players. But a lot of Twitch guys are all tournaments. So the tournaments are only going to keep getting bigger and bigger because they're the ones that are promoting them every single day.
Yeah, I feel like every single Twitch guy is all tournaments, which is a funny dynamic that most of the vloggers, besides Jeff Boski and myself, but the biggest poker vlog, way biggest share of it on YouTube with Jamin Burton and Mariano Poker or whatever. Like they're and whoever else I'm forgetting because I'm big time enough now to not care about you. No, I'm joking. They're all cash games. You're right. Do you think that the high stakes, like because of the characters in poker that used to be, are why that's less like the high stakes cash games
No,
or whatever?
I think that the people that are in charge of the productions don't know what they're doing, and they don't necessarily have the same juice that a lot of the older producers had. So basically, how it works is that if you're going to put on one of these events, it works best when you have relationships with the players. So for me, or for Rob Young, or for anybody like that, Triton Poker is a good example. They can call them up and say, "Hey, come play this game," right? And then they're going to come play the game because of the relationship they have with the players. Whereas the people that are in charge of these things now don't necessarily have as good of relationships with those same kind of players that have that status. So that's why you don't see those players playing in some of these games, and it's a little bit harder to get the lineups on. So you have to be very hands-on and have good relationships with the people in the game, and also have to understand how to character build and how to promote the players as well too. So there's a combination of different factors that are going on right now and why we don't see more of these games kind of take place.
So there's less Maury's for Phil Hellmuth to yell at off camera and be like,
Exactly.
Maury,
Exactly.
Maury.
Yeah, Maury had that very tight personal relationship. He was one of the main people that were in charge of the shows, and he's still at Poker Go now, but I don't know how hands-on he's going to be with the lineups in the past. And also, it's a new show for them, so they're still trying to figure out that process as well too. So it's a big challenge though, because the people that are playing high stakes usually aren't promoting themselves, and they don't have Instagram, they don't have Twitter. Even the guys that are good online players, they are mainly only known to the online community. They're not on Twitter. They're not on. Some are on 2+2, but they don't have a chance to promote themselves. So
Right.
you're basically competing for attention with all of these people who are daily trying to get attention for themselves. So if you're a fan of poker, you're going to say, well, am I going to be a fan of this high stakes guy I don't know? Or am I going to be a fan of someone who's streaming every single day or is putting up YouTube content? So essentially, these guys need people to help promote them because they're not going to do it themselves. And that's why they don't get that much attention on them.
It feels delayed. It feels like it's the gap between like I don't even mean this arrogant though, that like the draw that you or me or the other vloggers or stuff have still feels like undervalued for what it actually is. It means to poker, if that makes sense. Maybe it's not, but I think that
Hugely, yeah, massively. I think people don't understand how it works or why it matters or why the vlogs matter or why content, right? Basically, the content is the marketing for the game itself. So the more content out there that more people are watching that appeal to different types of crowds, the more audience that you can then bring in to potentially become interested in the game. And if you're just a poker player who's never really thought about that too much, then you're not going to have any reason to even have that register. But I think that the people that make content realized how much of an impact that they could potentially have. So people like Andrew and Brad with their vlogs getting hundreds of thousands of views, I mean, those are great for attracting those sort of like beginner level, recreational level players. Right. And then you have deeper level content that's good for retaining hardcore players, or that's good for people that really, really love it. They want to know everything about it. So different types of content is going to appeal and cater to different types of audiences. So the more kind of audiences that you can appeal to, like yourself, you appeal to a different audience than somebody like a Brad or Andrew might appeal to. That's going to be great overall for the ecosystem and for the game, is because you're bringing in new players and you're finding new players to potentially become fans of yourself or become fans of poker in general.
Yeah, if I were hosting a show, we could move you again. I'm trying to let you guide the conversation, but I'm just interested in talking about any of this. I could talk forever about all this shit, but if I were running a show, I would way sooner hire, like, I don't know I don't know who's a not well known, like, great, like, top 10 player in the world, some Euro dude with some weird name, like fucking any of them, right? Like,
Right.
I'd way rather hire Andrew Nemi before any of them to do commentary, even if the commentary obviously would be way less advanced or helpful. Just the draw is so undervalued. Like, I would
Yeah,
try to get
you're gonna see that. You're gonna see more of that taking place, because what's happening now is there's a big competition for marketing in the main online operator world. So as global poker becomes more of a player, you're gonna see more global versus ACR. As GG Poker becomes more of a viable operator, you're going to see more GG versus Poker Stars. So what they're going to do is they're going to have to go out there and say, well, where can we get attention for our product? And they're going to look for people with big audiences. That's the ESPN of 2020. So it's these miniature versions of ESPN that then people can grab from and say, okay, well, Ryan Depaulo has an audience. Okay, Andrew Nemi has an audience. And that's what we're seeing right now. Andrew and Brad are working with GG to promote the World Series. So GG pays them, whether it's entry fees or a fee or something like that. They go down to Mexico, they stream the events, they get paid for it, they help people sign up on GG, and it's this mutual exchange of value that's going on right now. Because GG reached out to everyone that has audiences. They reached out to me, and they reached out to other people, and
me too,
that's how
yeah.
they're trying to get attention for their product.
I want a bracelet though, so next year it's all like, I'm thinking now, just in how ridiculous it is that I want a bracelet, that I have got to be, good for ACR for signing me when they did, because they lucked the fuck out. They,
Well, that's a strategy. I mean, so basically a strategy that you might use as an operator is you might invest. It's called, you're investing. So you're investing in talent development. So you're investing in these personalities with the hope that you give them opportunity to play these events and you give them a way to make a living. They in turn represent you. And then in the future, if they do have big scores, they now become homegrown ambassadors that then you can promote at scale and say, this was a homegrown story who got good on our site, come play on our site. So it's basically a strategy that we saw with Poker Stars back in the day. It's a strategy in a way we saw with World Series of Poker, in that they developed stars from their event series, and then they were able to promote these people. Chris Moneymaker, for example, right? That's an easy one. Do you want to be like Chris Moneymaker? Come play the World Series of Poker. Do you want to be like Ryan Depaulo? Come play an ACR. So that's sort of a way to look at it, is that it's very valuable, and that's what Poker Stars is doing now. They're building up their own homegrown streamers as well, with Spraggy, Finton, with all the other people that have just been starting off. So what they're able to do is say, okay, well, we helped grow these people, and then the relationship that the creator, yourself, or whoever it is, feels with the business is a very close relationship, because you feel like these people helped get you to the point that you're at. So it's very valuable from the business to have ambassadors who feel indebted for an extended period of time with the creator that they're part of.
No, yeah, it's very smart. I mean, I was sort of saying, I sound ungrateful making the joke that they lucked out with me, but like, whatever. Everyone could see that I'd be a star and a legend a miles away.
Maybe. I mean, the thing is like, that gives you a big edge, because you're able to play some tournaments and you're able to do these different things that maybe you wouldn't normally be able to play or do or support yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So it's huge. I mean, people don't understand how huge these sponsorships are. Like, these Twitch streamers get to play all these tournaments and they get to give away all these different tournament ship, right? Like the ACR guys, the Party Poker guys, the Poker Stars guys, they're just giving away constant tickets for these events. I think people take that for granted, how big of an advantage that is versus someone who doesn't give away anything. So
you mean big of an advantage for their actual play or for their marketing or whatever?
For their marketing. Yeah, it's a huge.
Oh. I mean, I don't really do giveaways, but either way, it's like I totally think that it makes sense. I agree with what you're saying, and it's smart on them. And I don't want to sound at all like ungrateful or talking about them. I guess callously is the right word. I don't really know what the definition of that word, but like, I don't mean to sound jaded at all, because they've been super fucking cool and then receptive. And I am so not PC, and they've never fucking once told me don't say this or don't say this. Not once, which is so awesome that like, I am probably a not very sponsorable person to some extent, and then I am to others or whatever. that like I'm super fucking happy that they haven't. And they've let me be like honest in discussions where like they've never told me don't say you don't play cash games here or anything like that. Like I just tell my experience, and then it's like, you know, go do you. But yeah, it's really interesting all this shit that's changing with like, you know, the marketing of it or whatever the fuck we're talking, you know, whatever this discussion is.
Yeah, I think what's happening right now is that the whole entire creator landscape it's in infancy stages. So we're seeing how it's going to develop. We don't really know, and I think esports is a place you can look at and say how do things develop there. And then poker is like years behind all these other industries. I mean, you look at poker compared to all the other industries. Poker is like fishing so hard, and that's ultimately because of the companies at the top who have the most money to spend on marketing. They are the ones that have to get better at what they do. So once they get better at what they do, then you're going to see people down the road get better at what they do because they have an example to look after. So it's just, and I think that's why I'm very optimistic about the future of poker, is because I see how bad the strategies are and I see how much better the strategies can be. So I'm very hopeful that poker is going to be much, much bigger than this, which whether you want it to be bigger or not, it's a debatable thing. I'm always for it. I think it's a beautiful game. I think it's great. I think there are going to be some things that hurt online poker in terms of the appeal to people outside of it, but people are always going to be allured by the opportunity to win $150,000, right? They're always going to want a chance to win a big score.
It's careful. There's a balance. We can get to more questions or whatever the hell you want to do, but it is we talked about it. It's like a careful balance to talking about the real, like me saying I don't trust PLO cash games online may be like very harmful to the game and the ecosystem of poker, but also like when I say like I'm helping the ecosystem of poker, like say Moneymaker was a 100 effect out of 100 and me winning in a parking lot is 15 out of 100 or whatever the fuck it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I just leading a bunch of people to like get addicted and go broke? You know, that doesn't sound cool, but it does sound cool to put on a lot of people to like this awesome game in a cool way. So whatever, guys, just fucking play poker. And then if you lose a lot, you know, just know you're you know, the pros are better than you and quit. I don't know.
Well, it's all about how you frame it to yourself, because you can make a good argument either way. In that, because I've thought about this a ton for myself, is that I'm promoting poker. I understand what's happening out there. I understand most people aren't going to be able to win at the game, but most people are going to have fun at the game, hopefully, when they play. So we can assume that most people out there are going to be able to control themselves. And of course, there are going to be people that can't control themselves in anything that they do. So there's all different ways you can look at it, really.
Yeah. And I believe in the freedom anyway of choice. So it's like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. It's whatever. Sign up today.
Sign up today and play. I mean, yeah. Put your work in, put your study in, right? I mean, it depends how much fun you want to have. I can go either way with it, really. I mean, it really depends. It really depends, man. Let me see what else questions we got in here. Play some questions from the chat, man. I see Andrew Baxter up there.
Oh, it's okay. I could fucking keep going on anything, bro. I could bore you to death with all my ACR or whatever discussions. It's super interesting. And hearing you with Rob Young was interesting. Him talking about the antelope, all that shit is very interesting. Like that, all the idea. I was thinking about this recently, that we need constantly, you know, the pros need new players to who are losing for the ecosystem to survive or whatever.
Right.
And I wonder though, as you're saying, if we all get better at growing it, it can only help everybody, even aside from getting new players in, just if there's more sponsor money in the game, period, right? So it's like but I guess that goes hand in hand with needing like, because the only sponsors right now mostly are poker sites themselves. So if there aren't more poker players, then the marketing, you know, the sponsors won't be there. But if ever stuff got big enough that there were many more outside sponsors or just money coming in, then it would be like such a better thing, instead of just these zero-sum games that are being documented and a couple people are gaining from it. It'd be more like fucking like, you know, NASCAR, where everybody has 18 patches on them or some shit. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think it'll develop that way as people become more known, right? As they see the value there of saying, okay, well, Brad Owen's getting 400,000 views on a vlog, like maybe you know what I'm saying? But also the creators themselves have to establish the relationships with these people who can provide investment to them that are outside of poker, which is the big challenge. So companies have people who reach out and develop relationships with a Dollar Shave Club, for example, right? So they develop a relationship with them and they invest in the company due to the relationship that they have with those people. So a lot of the solo creators right now are just by themselves. So they're busy making content, they're busy playing, they're busy with their families. They don't have somebody who's business development on their team who's going out there and reaching out for advertising and reaching out for sponsorships. We literally did this morning, by the way, on my end. So I'm learning all this stuff myself now. And I think that's what happens is somebody needs to learn it. Someone needs to talk about it, and other people say, that's a good idea, right? So now maybe I tell you this and you say, oh, that's not a bad idea. So then you start reaching out, you start cold calling sponsors out there and say, hey, do you want to do some business with me? You get a bunch of no's. One company says yes. You bring that sponsor on board. You negotiate a deal. You deliver value, and then you can negotiate a better rate in the future. So I think we're going to see more and more of that kind of stuff develop as more and more people start to take it seriously.
Yeah, I think that the best is just like ease in. Don't just come out and try to rate me and take a minute in the beginning of my video when you email and it's like, oh, we run this Zynga type app. Will you do a 1 minute insert in the beginning of your next vlog? It's like, no, that's going to take too much time. It's not worth the little bit of money you're going to give me. Do like Poker Poise. I've worn their shirt on stream. They paid me nothing. They subscribed to my Twitch channel. I make $2.50 off that, but I use their product in one of my vlogs, and then they messaged me like, what's your address, and sent me a bunch of shirts that are comfortable. And then they just like, I wore them on stream a bunch of times. So like, buy me a drink first, guys. But also we got to do a better job on our end. But I don't know if people are sick of us talking about this marketing shit. I don't know. You're the podcast guy. Next question.
Yeah, I mean, this is all the stuff I study, basically. So I don't necessarily study. I haven't studied as much poker, but the past 7 months, I've just been deep in the lab and studying how business and marketing and finance work in almost every industry around. Because I realized in poker that I saw a lot of issues and I had a lot of questions about why things weren't being done. The only way I could figure out how to possibly solve them myself is if I just started learning about what's happening in the other parts of the world. And then I come back and I understand why they don't happen in poker. And that's because the people that are in charge of these companies don't have this 2020 knowledge about how the world is working from a marketing, from a content perspective, because a lot of people that are in place in these companies have been around for a very long time due to the relationships that they have and the experience that they have. So while they do have knowledge and they do have great information, they provide a great value, they are missing the perspective on a lot of what is currently working very well for other industries. So when you only have a few companies who are in charge of these things, you're going to see those companies lead by example. And those companies were established over 10 years ago before the internet became more of a driving factor in a possible business. Whereas when you look at other industries like esports that have recently become established, they're adopting new strategies that are more in line with the current platforms and programs available to get your message out there. So that whole part of things I find just all very fascinating. I mean, one guy in the chat, Cheyenne Akvan, says the same thing happened in gaming. Sponsors look at video gamers as jokes, right? Like this guy Ninja plays fucking Fortnite. Like, what is that? But now you're seeing once a Red Bull comes on and once more serious sponsors come on, the other sponsors take a look at it and say, oh, that's interesting. Okay. And they're more inclined. So once you start seeing a few come on, then you're going to start seeing more and more, and it's going to be a snowball effect. And I think that is what's going to happen as these brands need to get attention for their products, is they're going to look at TikTok and they're going to look at Instagram and Facebook and all these different places where say, who are the influencers in these spaces and how do we get our product with them and develop a relationship with them? So you're going to find a lot of people try to develop relationships with you because they want to get something from you at some point in time. I mean, that's how it works, and that's how
more of them
works.
should, because they're so fucking stupid. They spend like just YouTube ad revenue should be so much higher for all of it. They're so fucking dumb. Advertisers will spend probably millions making a dumbass commercial that everyone's just going to DVR and then fast forward through. But they probably have small ass marketing budgets to spend on YouTube ads. It's like, yo, get it together, big marketing cucks, you fucking idiots. But this is a different thing. This is great news for us, what you're talking. But I'm even thinking of just like the coverage of it, or even like that more people are involved in poker. But it's a weird thing because the game itself is not like, I don't know how esports is, but is there only one league per game? Or are there many, like is there the NFL, NHL, like, you know, MLB of Fortnite, for example, or is it all one league that
there's
dominates?
a bunch of different things, right? They might be like an Epic has their own main Fortnite league and their own Fortnite competitions that are sponsored by Epic, and then you might have some that are maybe a league or like a little contest or an event that's mainly done by a creator. So like, let's say Ninja puts on an event, he might do it in collaboration with Epic, or he might do it on his own collaboration with Red Bull. So basically it's very developing. It's very new. And I think a lot of the creators are starting to say, well, why don't we create our own events like that? And there's a ton of games and there's a ton of leagues. So if you go through the biggest events, you'll see what their events do in Dota and with League of Legends and with Fortnite. And it's very impressive. It's very cool stuff. And it's similar to World Series of Poker in a lot of ways, because World Series of Poker is basically our big event too.
Yeah.
So
I think America's Card Room Cage is the right idea. Sorry, we could go move on to the next one. But America's Card Room, the live cage, has the right idea that they have like their team pros there. There's a few people who get an opportunity to play in this giant cash game way above their head than normal. They have me vlog about it, have Jeff vlog about it. They cover it live. Like that type of shit I think is great, where it's super cool. It's like, oh, you know, Ryan versus Tom Canuli or Rob Kuhn or Ryan's an idiot. I played against Chris Moorman, dude. I didn't even know who the fuck he was, and I didn't care, and I played so bad against him in the live cage, for example. Like shit like that I think is like super cool. But I don't know, whatever.
no, yeah, stuff like that is really cool, right? I mean, anytime you have an event where you can promote the event, that's obviously going to be a good thing. So I think that's what we see with ACR. ACR, like I said, ACR has some good ideas with things, but you can tell they're limited with the team that they have. Like it seems very obvious that the team around Phil Nagy is just not that strong in a lot of areas. And whether that's because he's a micromanager, whether it's because he wants to do everything himself, and he obviously has a vision and he has the ambition in order to get to the point that he wants to get to. But I think his biggest challenge is establishing a structure under him of a team, and a team that he can delegate things to that actually know what the fuck they're doing. And that's the biggest challenge with a lot of these companies that I meet with and talk to, is that the team that they have in place, the people in the team don't necessarily know what they're doing. So I'll have marketing conversations with a lot of people who work at different companies in poker and outside of poker, and you just see that they're not researched, they're not studied, they don't educate on what they're doing. So while the person that's the owner has a great vision for what they want to do, you need the people in place in order to execute on the vision that you have, the more grand your ambition is. So that's the biggest challenge I see in companies in poker right now, is that they're just having some issues establishing that and finding the people with the possible talents and qualifications in order to do these roles quite well. But that's going to change, and I think it'll change sooner than later. So
Well,
I'm
yeah,
optimistic.
I mean, I'm not going to comment on, ever out of respect for who I work for. I'm not going to comment on how my 1/2 a cent on the little bit I've seen the people who work there or whatever. But I think that it applies to anything. Any industry gets better anytime there's more, you know, like great jobs for any field, as everything grows together at once, you know. But so I don't know.
Exactly, man. Listen, like I said, I'm very optimistic about it, and I just the only downside I see is that, like, you know, if a lot of the security issues become a bigger thing, which they certainly could, then that would be a deterrent to online poker. Is that if people are just so scared they're getting cheated by software and by bots, then that's going to turn a lot of people away. And also, obviously, legality in America is the biggest thing. Once poker becomes legal in America, which technically it is right now, if you really think about it, then once it's known that it's legal in America and you can start promoting and spending a lot of money promoting poker in America, if that ever happens, then of course, who knows what might happen from there.
Yo, I was going to ask you this stuff. I don't want to, like, that you were alluding to, stuff like video, like stuff that's coming out that you're working on, about stuff going on. Is it about ghosting or something, or like multi-counting?
No.
All that shit I think is much more, I'm much more concerned about any of that than I ever would be about the software itself or whatever, or the other issues, for whatever that's worth. Like, you know, I think that it's just like I imagine, and I don't know this, but that in some of these like private high rollers and shit on GG or wherever the fuck, party poker, that especially with swaps and all, these guys know each other, that it's just like fucking 3-on-3 basketball games sometimes or something, you know, like. And not that they're card sharing or anything like that, but just that even if it's just like we all have big pieces of each other, or we're all in the same stable, and like all these like there's a lot of different issues. But I guess this is no different than live poker, so that's not really unique to online. The point I'm making.
Well, okay, so the poker player's goal, who's a professional, is to make as much money as they can in these games. So if the option there is to work together with another person that they know is also good at poker, and if they suspect other people are doing that, do you think they're going to do that?
Do I think the average poker player would do that?
Do you think another great poker player who has no risk of being outed or known, no one will find out, do you think that person, if they suspect other people are doing it, do you think they would reach out to their roommate and say, hey, why don't we share cards in this instance?
Yeah, from the more I get in the poker world, sadly, I think the answer is more. Maybe I've only met mostly too many shady people to good people. I don't know. But it seems to be that, yes, the further I get to know the poker world, the more I think that, yes is the answer to that. Will the majority of people in that spot do that? Like, I think that it's, and I almost don't know where the line ends. Obviously, card sharing is straight up cheating. But like, if you just scale it back and start at like, we figure out where the line is. It's like Mike Postle clearly fucking cheating. But then it's like the lowest level is like, what about like Sam Soverill's angle or whatever, folding out of turn. That's fucked up, but maybe that's like a softer bootleg edge that you should get a penalty for. But if you do it in the right spot, maybe it's like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like maybe that's not as evil as we all acted like. I don't fucking know where the line is. Also, maybe saying shit like that guy. There's that famous clip of that guy shooting an angle where he says raise, and then he's like, no, call. I mean call, and he had the nuts. Like that is so fucked and grimy, but I think that in my insane world, even though I don't do stuff like that live, I think that that's actually almost fun or morally okay. The risk is that if you do that to new people, they'll never want to play again and shit like that and be like, fuck, I have to worry about this stuff too. But I think that like that may be okay, and then the line like needs to clearly end. But it's like, yeah, how do you like I know of people who are very moral otherwise, like honestly, as far as I could tell, they're very, very fucking honest, very good with money and shit, that are not averse to any of the stuff, you know?
Well, I think what's happened in poker is that these became established as standards long ago. So we saw the top people in poker. It was almost became like a fun thing. Doyle Brunson, England people, or old stories of people getting cheated. And I think what happened is that it's so easy and there are no repercussions in a lot of ways in a lot of these things that it's just become more of a standard thing. And I have an idea of what's happening in these private games, the old Jungle Man kind of situation with what happened. I mean, I think that's more of a regularity versus something that was a one-off situation, right? And I think it's just accepted amongst the professionals who play in these games that if you're going to play in these games, that's what's going to happen with some people. So
that some of them are being ghosted or have a pro play for them.
100%.
Like, yeah. I think that it's fucked up, and I don't know if either of us are fully comfortable with going here.
Yeah, great players you would respect, right? You'd be like, oh, that's an example for. Yeah, I think things like that are happening, definitely.
Way more than people think, and I think that we need to be careful, and we've talked about this before, that it's like I don't want to hurt the game. Like, I feel a responsibility, and I also feel truly that poker is so fucking awesome that I wouldn't want anybody to be like afraid or put off by any of this. But I think that it's almost like any issue where it's like doing a deep, honest dive of it is so much better than like a witch hunt for just like, oh, fucking Jungle Man ghosting. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's too hard and sketchy, and like people's like whole livelihoods are at risk to actually talk about the extent of it or where the line is drawn. But I just know that I would think about, for me, like, and I guess, but you need to know enough to know what do you think other people are doing. Right. But I was going to say my criteria is, what do I expect is happening on the other end of the computer would be where I would be upset or not, right? Or where I think that it could be all immoral, but it's like, I never would be like, oh, this guy who beat me last night was on a fucking group call or some shit, or had his professional poker player roommate. Like if Ron McMillan was getting told hands, he was there with a bunch of young pros, right? They 100% were helping him in hands. You cannot tell me that there weren't spots he was in where these young pros were there, where this guy in the room is going to win a bracelet, that they didn't fucking help him. But that, like, that's fine. Like, I don't expect to be against Ron McMillan and have that not happen, knowing the situation he's in, right? So it's like there's this gray area with it, you know. I think that literally having somebody just play your account is fucking fucked up. But like being, you know, like there's a scale of it, and it's interesting to talk about like where it ends. But I would never expect that that's not happening to me.
Yeah, I think what you're mentioning, you mentioned the Mac Daddy. I mean, he had Dustin Dirksen. He's been one of the top poker players. He's one of the top poker players in Iowa, and he used to play high stakes on full tilt back in the day. The guy knows what he's doing. He's a great player. So of course, I mean, really what's happening here is this happens a lot, but it just goes to a Skype group chat where you're sharing a screen and there's 6 people, and maybe the player behind the account is going to make the ultimate decisions, but the other 5 people are sometimes giving their input. And if you got 5 really good players in there, then of course you're going to be making some pretty good decisions theoretically. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win every time, because variance comes into place, which that's what makes poker fun. But yeah, these kind of things are happening for sure.
Yeah, and I wonder, it's like, I don't know. It's fucked up though, because then it's like an ecosystem where theoretically, if you extreme it out, it's like me, Ron McMillan, some other people who are not that good at a final table, just like this business people game. And then it's like Jungle Man and Phil Ivey and all the, like, that's the extreme worst version of this, where it's like, it's never that, I mean, but like on,
It's a tough problem, right? I mean, I've thought about this for months, right? It's a real tough problem to solve because there is no way to stop it in a lot of ways. And then you have to decide, do you want to be involved with the game or the industry, or is that something that you just can't look past to the point where you want to get out of the industry?
yeah, it's fucked up, but yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't mean to accuse Ron McMillan or whoever the guy he was with in any type. This is the opposite of accusatory. Like if I was sitting in a room with anyone, I would have been like sitting in a car with a bunch of them. I would have been like, yo, what do I do here? Like, or not, or just be like, yo, I got a spot, fucking help me out. But
right.
Whatever. Anyway.
But Ryan, what happens is when you start researching other industries, you start realizing that we are the ones getting cheated in a lot of these other industries too, and we're not aware of what's happening, or we're uneducated to know it. So
like daily fantasy or something, or you mean other industries totally? You sound like Ty Lopez, dude. Like you were like, I've been in a lab researching how business works, how the world economy works. Knowledge. That's the key. Knowledge. This is a label maker. I don't know, but
what the hell is that thing?
A label maker I got for Katie just because she likes to label shit. I don't know.
Well, I needed to look for ways to feel better about what I'm doing in poker. So I was like, well, is this happening everywhere in all businesses? And I think you can find this happening in a lot of businesses out there where the uneducated...
This issue prompted you to look into this stuff?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Oh wow.
Because I was like, well, is poker just like that? Is this singular to poker? And when you start researching politics and big business and banking and world finance and these different structures like that, you start to realize like these sorts of issues are pervasive at every level, and the higher up the food chain you go, the bigger these issues are in terms of how much the uneducated person gets taken advantage of by these things.
Yeah, you mean the disappointing level to which people in that world will like bend morality to climb in it.
Exactly.
Is it like the umbrella?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Correct. To have success. Correct. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you hear that story, but I'm not aware of those worlds all the time in corporate structures where someone's at top and they're like, yeah, you stepped on a lot of throats to get there. Is like, and of course it would more lend itself to a game that it's just like every man for himself. But I don't know. You know, I think that I hope live poker comes back in a large way because I don't know that you can be ghosting in live poker yet. Except for me, I ghosted by the ghost of Stu Unger. I'm a mother. God rest his soul.
Ghosted you in that tournament, kid. Kid, let me have you give some shout outs. I got to run to the back. I've been drinking so much fucking water. I'm trying to stay hydrated out here in Las Vegas, G2 headquarters. Let me give you a question. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'm listening to your answer, okay?
All right, yeah.
Let me see my list I got over here. At what age did Ryan realize his degenerate tendencies, and how did it happen?
All right. Yo, let me tell you something while he's gone. When we were on a Skype call, a Zoom call before we came on the air, he had no shirt on. Because I said, yo, let's go on a Zoom call a little bit early because, you know, so we could make sure the connection's good. This dude had no shirt on. He started asking me about my sex life. That part's a joke, but he did have no shirt on. And I think that, you know, I would have had it had we had more time. You know, I would have been having it. No, listen, Joe is cool. As if he's not hearing this right now or going to see this. What age did I don't know, man. I guess I've always been risk taking, but I think like a lot of.
Tell him I didn't have my shirt on. Like, oh yeah.
It was just from here up though, but it was.
I was charming him, baby. I brought no shirt on. I'm like, what's up, man? Behind the scenes, the hair's all crazy. Got no shirt on. The fucking light's not on in here. Listen, man. Hey, you know, I didn't think you were gonna dial in that second. I sent you the link. You dialed in. I go, fuck, man. Let's load it up here.
We gotta make sure you know what I mean? Yeah. I thought that was like your hair for it, like the Doug Polk faux hawk or whatever.
Your boy Doug Polk.
Yeah, shouldn't we talk about you're going to be uncomfortable though if he comes up. People, I don't want to talk too much about him, but I think it's very funny.
I mean, I think yeah, whatever happened with Doug Polk. So what was going on? You tried to approach him and you said, do you watch my stuff? And he said, no. Well, what happened exactly with that? I don't understand it really.
Yeah. Well, wait. Now I need to get water. So let me
go ahead.
Maybe tee up your understanding, and I'll be right back or something. I don't know what the fuck. You do you.
Caledonia W. It would be more surprising if you said Joey was wearing sleeves. That's true. Matt's out there. What's up, Matt's? Kevin Booley. What's up, Kevin? How many people we got watching right now? We got anybody tuned in? Let's see. I haven't really even looked. Cool. We got a bunch of people, man. Yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to be on the podcast on Friday with the World Poker Tour founder, Steve Lipscomb. Really excited to talk to him. I'm researching the World Poker Tour and do World Poker Tour content, Party Poker, World Poker Tour stuff coming up. And one of the videos is going to be the history of World Poker Tour. So I've been really researching their company. It's quite nice. I think they have one of the best companies in poker, actually, World Poker Tour. So
My volume may be different than what it was when I left. I'm sorry.
No,
How many people are watching right now, bro?
I don't know. 700,
Oh,
something
good.
like that, maybe.
It should be like 8,000. Should be everybody in the poker
8,000.
world. But Dick Face Andrew Nemi went live the same moment as this. We got to talk to him about that.
Shout out to my guy Andrew.
All right, so listen. Yeah.
So what happened with Doug Polk? What happened with the kid? What
So
happened?
all right, so I was a little aggressive, obviously, in the way I had come on, but I was I had like messaged him. Not that I expected a response or anything. I don't remember how many subscribers I had at the time. You know, you work very hard for the few subscribers you have, right? So I think in your own mind you're bigger than you are, or not even. And I don't think I have a big ego, but I think that I thought like. It's like, you know, you're only knowing your perspective, right? So it's like I've grinded for these like 10,000 or whatever it was, 30,000 subscribers at the time. I don't fucking know. And I think that I'm like, I would think that somebody in the YouTube poker world would have been aware of me, but this is a side point of it. Anyway, I had messaged him or like commented on his videos a lot. And you get a notification when somebody with more than like 5,000 subscribers or something comments on your video. You see it in a separate feed. So there's no world in which he didn't see me commenting on his videos, which is why you think that's not true?
I don't know. I've never seen that on mine. I don't know.
Oh, on my YouTube studio, it's like a separate tab of comments, and it's like big YouTube channels, which today is like over a certain amount of thousand.
Oh, really?
So you've already changed my opinion. But anyway, this is not even the point, like any of this shit. But so even still, so none of this even takes away from my point. But so, and also I have responsibility in this. So one, I came in with too big of a head, right? That I'm illustrating now with the way I'm talking about it, that I like think I'm some shit that I'm fucking not, right? He's like one of the best players in the world, heads up. He was like a great, super successful player, super successful YouTuber. Like you've pointed out to me, many of people come up to him and want some shit. Like I'm nowhere nearly as successful on YouTube or poker or even close like to what he is or was. And I could see how that could happen totally. So I need to understand all of this. And I do now more, but so he has all this stuff, all these people wanting something from him, especially like a smaller YouTuber would be like the biggest category of leech, perhaps looking to climb through using his name, which he allowed me to do by being a fuckface to me. But I understand all of this context going in, that I was a little maybe aggressive. Like I Instagrammed once, I just sent him a message on Instagram in all caps, like I'm coming for your spot, as like a joke. I thought he'd laugh about it. And so I'm at the tag team event, my first World Series of Poker. It's the first event I've played there live, and we're near each other. And then the first interaction, I'm just like across tables, and I'll like film first and then ask people later if it's okay, unless they're a dick to me, sort of. But and I was just like, yo, Doug, I'm coming for your spot. I'm coming for your YouTube spot. And he's like, you can't have it. And then we ended the video. So then we're bagging chips at the end of the day. 0% interrupting him. There's no hand. We're sitting there table by table waiting for instructions on how to bag the chips. He wasn't even in a conversation. And I go up to him one table away and I'm like, hey man, I just want to introduce myself. I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm, I make I make poker videos. And he like interrupted me. He was like, yeah, I don't watch videos. And I was like, oh, okay. Cause I think if you did, you'd like him. And he was like, yeah, I don't watch videos, bro. And then he like shrugged his shoulder and like looked at somebody else at the table, like such a douchebag. And then I go back to my seat. I think nothing of it. Then I tweet just like my experience. I'm like, yo, met Andrew Nemi and Brad Owen. They were super cool on like fuckface Polk, which is obviously a little aggressive. And then he's like, I try to be nice to every fan. You were this and this. Anyway, so then I parlayed, much like he did with Daniel Negreanu, or I feel no sympathy for him if I slandered his name more than he deserves at all. Because this is his marketing like strategy in a lot of ways, I feel, right? With Daniel Negreanu and shit. So it's sort of like his comeuppance in that sense, even though I'm a jerk in this scenario a lot of ways. So I was just like, yo, fuck it, he's a dick to me. And I really do think I would never big time anybody who was like, yo, I'm a fellow creator. Like when I came up to him off camera, I was super like genuine. I thought I was not interrupting him. I was not trying to be like, and I didn't mean like, I didn't mean it like, I don't know if you know who I am. It was totally like the opposite. It was so like with humility, and I was a huge fan of his. So I was also very like disappointed that he was that rude to me. You know, like whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can understand from Doug's standpoint where he gets approached all the time. I mean, I have people, the two people that I
There's only one Ryan Depaulo approaching you per lifetime, you fuck, Doug.
The two people that I get approached to get in touch with them is Doug Polk and Bill Perkins all the time. People say, "Can you get me in touch with Doug? Get me in touch with Bill? Get me in touch with..." Like, all right. Happens all the time. So these guys are getting constantly approached, constantly by people. And I think that if you see someone you think's being an asshole to you, which he might have got that impression the first interaction you had with him, you guys are recording, he's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Yeah. So I think that you're very put off by that person, and you just like, get the fuck away from me. And sometimes, whether you're a creator, whether you're a person, whether whoever you are. So if I feel like I'm being disrespected by someone, they try to come and talk to me, I'm pretty nice in general. So I'll probably be nice overall, but I could see how he might have reacted that way. And I don't really think he does watch anything. I think that was a bad thing for some ways, because that's what helped him lose excitement a little bit about what he was doing, is that he didn't really watch a lot of other content out there, and he wasn't keeping up to date with who else was doing anything like that.
Well, he was I mean, your friend, I'm sure he knew what you were making, but he is the hub. Like, he was the center of it. It makes sense that he wouldn't. And also what you're saying. So again, I keep fucking interrupting you, but you've already softened the slight in my mind even more. This is how insane like perception is, that I could like, I don't think a lot about him at all, but think that he's such a dick for this long, when he's only like a little bit of a dick, maybe. You know what I mean? Like it's much less. He can
definitely be a dick to people, right? He's always been nice to me. I've known him a long time, but we have a personal relationship together. So if he doesn't necessarily know you, or if he feels disrespected by you, or if he feels like you're wronging people in some ways, or he feels like you were a part of a poker site taking millions of dollars from its most hardcore players, then he's going to speak up and stand up for what he believes in. So in that situation with Negreanu you're referring to, right? And that's certainly been his marketing approach, where he's tried to, right, use these other
punch up or names. Whatever or something, yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, that's definitely been a strategy. It's clear it's part of his strategy, whether he feels like he's standing up for what he believes in or not. It's clear that he's looking for things he believes in that maybe have to do with people who have a profile, right? Like, you went after the fucking mayor of Vegas. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's a wild stuff. It's a crazy strategy, right? He's got his own kind of unique strategy. So I can understand you. Obviously, we can agree you may have overreacted a little bit in this situation too, but then it's good for content.
Views, for sure. I way milked it. Put him in a thumbnail, called him big time jerk, and I fully acknowledge that. And also, I don't think I'm fighting for anything. Like, I don't think I'm like carrying the beacon. This is like a personal butthurt at someone who I was a big fan of, who I was like, on one level, like a little disappointed they didn't know who I was, but that's just a little part of it. But then two, even more upset that they were like, I was like, hey, like I saw it, which it wasn't, as me just being like, hey man, I'm trying to enter this space that you are like my idol in, essentially, like the poker player, like YouTuber. Even though I wouldn't go so far as to call him an idol, but I was for sure a fan of his, and I still would watch his poker videos if he makes them again. And then he's just like, just like, be like, yeah, fuck off. I don't care who you are, and I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's disappointing for you, right? Obviously, as you mentioned, right, this is like your one interaction with him. You got to meet him. You watched a lot of his content.
My first time at the World Series of Poker. Yeah, I was more excited to see him too than anybody else. I had like all these pros and shit, like more than walking by the 50K. Like when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, that's Doug Polk. That's so fucking cool. You know, like more than any pro that I'd never seen. I'd never been to the World Series. So I was just like a little boy with a hurt soul, but also fuck him. Like, I'm happy to use his strategy against him. And like I said, even if I thought somebody was being aggressive, if they come up to me genuine after, I don't care. I promise you, anyone, you could lie. This is a good angle. You want to disturb me with my fucking kids in 10 years, you dipshits. You can use this angle and be like, hey, I'm an other content creator. If you want to steal my time, and I'll be like, you know what? I'll take an extra moment for you. What kind of shit you making? And they're like, well, I'm thinking about starting one. I'll be like, fuck off. Like, talk to my agent. If you made a video, at least one video, then we'll talk. But but yeah, and then I just happily parlayed his name as much as I could into whatever, some notoriety. I don't even fucking know. You know, I will accept his apology when it comes, though. And now, you know, he thinks he's brushing off some punk kid. Look who's got a bracelet, dog, who's like #2 in the trending poker players on Hen and Mob in the last 7 days behind Bryn Kenny. It's like, you think you could just brush off the Depaulo, bro? You can't. Mr. Polk, but I will accept your apology whenever it comes. I fully am willing, as emperor of the poker world. With Bryn Kenny, he and I talk all the time. We've decided we will let you back if and when you want to come back. you'll just need to do just a quick little apology to me. I'll snap accept it, and then we're good.
I think he might come back one day. You never know. He might get bored of being at home playing the video games, and maybe he comes back to the poker world. But the game that he played doesn't really exist, so it's like,
What?
Well, he
Heads
played
up?
Heads Up Poker, and Heads Up Poker doesn't really exist anymore.
Why doesn't it exist anymore? I actually don't know why it doesn't exist anymore or what you're referencing.
A lot of the online sites got rid of it, whether it wasn't making money or it was very predatory in nature. So a lot of the online sites like PokerStars, they changed the system for Heads Up, and there was just less action, less regulars played against each other. The rake was higher. So there's a number of different factors of why that happened. Plus, like if you know someone significantly better than you, and you're probably not going to play him, so he wasn't able to get much action.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that's certainly like the coolest. It's like such a cool format to be that good at, And I don't think that. I'm just like a very disrespectful person in general. I would say, like, my girlfriend tells me this. Like, I do not respect people as much as I should, and it's not personal, but like I don't give a fuck. Someone after was like, "You're talking about one of the world's best heads up players in the world." I was like, "I don't give a fuck. Like, who gives a fuck?" Yeah, I don't know. And then also like I don't know why I keep talking about him. Anyway, who cares? But like, those are my two villains in the channel, so to speak. People will be like, "Yo, fuck Doug Polk, fuck New York Poker King," and I would say still fuck New York Poker King. He's just a skell who got some Instagram followers and scammed a bunch of people. He's a confirmed piece of shit. Doug just hurt my feelings, and I'm a hurt little boy, and I understand why.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
I'm
man.
very obnoxious, dude.
Next time I get him on the pod, maybe we get an apology out of him, man. I'll ask him.
A
Okay?
baby one. Tell him, yo, I'd be very just like if you present it, because he doesn't watch videos, so I'm sure he'll never see this. Like, yeah, my ass, he'll never see this. He's interested. Someone will be like, "Oh, Doug, did you see Ryan and Joe talking about you?" Or you'll text him and be like, "Yo, Depaulo was rambling about you. He seemed a little really arrogant, but then he seemed a little humble and understanding, and then maybe vulnerable about it. I can't really get a read off it, but you might want to check out what Ryan said." So maybe when he sees this, just know that, Doug, you just hurt my feelings, and I'm willing to accept you back in the poker world.
I'll let him know.
And he'll be, he's going to get pissed at that. I bet you he'll be like, "I am the fucking poker world. If I want to come back, blah, blah, blah."
Well, he can't be too happy about it. I think Negrano was speaking at him the other day. Johnny Vibes said something about him too. I mean, he can't be too happy on the sidelines, kind of seeing people make these comments about him. I mean, obviously, you get a little at first when people make those comments when you're like in game mode, you get a little fire about it, but eventually, like your passion and your fire to defend yourself against comments like that can go away, especially once you're comfortable in your life and you've had a lot of success. You have no.
Wait, what do you mean, me or him or who?
For him.
That he wouldn't care to like clarify any shit I'm saying?
Yeah, like once.
Oh yeah, who gives a fuck? He's so much bigger than me. He doesn't need to. I'm being facetious. Like, oh, if he apologizes, I'll let him back. Like, why would he care? He's so much bigger than me and more successful in poker. Mm-hmm. Well, he should care because we're coming. You know what I mean? I'm coming. Bracelet 1. You know what I mean? A little more popularity.
5 bracelets. What are your goals for the channel? What do you want to do? You want to have the most popular YouTube poker channel in the game here?
I mean, I should already. I don't know why I don't, but I think that I don't really think my only goal for this year was to try to get 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which I may or may not happen right now. I'm on pace for less than that. Is that your plaque in the background, by the way?
Yeah.
That's sick, man. You get that plaque when you get 100,000 subscribers, but I don't know. I think I'm only going to keep doing just like videos that like I only want to make shit that I'm interested in, really, that I think is funny. Like, I'm willing to go to a certain extent to like maybe I've like taken a trip to Borgata to play an event when I might have not otherwise by like 20% played that event, right? If not for the vlog. But I'm only willing to bend so far as like doing what I think is interesting or funny versus what I know might get views or something.
Right.
So I don't know what my goal is. I'm like figuring out life as I go along, and my shit is so fluid. Like, I was working, a day job 6 months ago or whatever it was, so it's like, also, if I don't win this bracelet, who the fuck knows? Like, stuff is so crazy in this game of life. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I guess goals would be good to write down though, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's good to have a vision. I mean, my vision always when I started doing content was I said I wanted to become Daniel Negreanu of Potlam in Omaha. So that was my goal, and it's not like a hard goal. There was no face of PLO back in the day. And then over time, your goals might change. Now my goals are to put on one of the greatest poker events in the history of poker. So that's one of my new goals I'm working at right now. So I'm establishing what that might look like and what the context might be, where that event might be at, who it will incorporate. But I plan to incorporate all of the friends I've made in the content world. So listen, man, I mean, I think, yeah, I got some pretty fun ideas for what I kind of want to do down the road. And that's what I'm working at right now. So I'm just trying to figure out who I want to work with, right? Who are the creators that I like? Who are the people I like? Obviously, Depaulo's in the mix too, of course, man.
I hope.
You know
I don't know if you like me sometimes though. You've had my number and then you're hot and cold on me. Now I'm, I don't know.
Well, you mentioned you have 500 unread text. I have a similar, right? You get a lot of people messaging you. I got a lot of friends, a lot of people I talk to, a lot of people I want to talk to. It's a very, very hard challenge, actually. It's one of my hardest challenges, just to balance out who to speak to, how to structure that entire part of my life. Because I've always had a small group of friends. Now when you have like 500 people, 100 people, 200 people, whatever. Some are business, some are friends, some are family, some are acquaintances, some are people you could be friends with.
And you don't know in poker too, and content, you don't know, like if I'm texting you, if it's like I actually care about you or I'm trying to like get to know you for more view. It's like you never, like it's like these weird like bridge relationships that are like do you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like
I never think about it that too much. I don't really worry about that. I mean, I think
me neither, but it's
you can't
still
stress about that.
it.
But I don't really. It doesn't matter to me really. I think it's all kind of the same thing for me. So I'm just trying to find people I like talking to and that, because I think in poker one thing I was always good at was I always had a good group of friends that we grew together and we got better together and we talked strategy and we all improved at our games. And I think in content that was me and Doug. Me and Doug always did that for a long time, and now Doug he stopped doing content. So I'm like, okay, well I got to find some new people that I can be friends with and that we can get. Like I need to find more friends that do what I do, right? Like all my friends still play poker. Well, that's cool, but I'm not necessarily working at my Panama cash game anymore.
Right.
So it's like I got to find some people out there who are into the kind of shit I'm into, whether that's business or marketing or content.
Jeff and I's relationship, Jeff Boski, shout outs to him. It's like we're like coworkers almost, but I mean, we're actually friends. But it's like there's so few people like us or whatever that could relate to, like, it's such an independent like struggle, or not struggle, like you know what I mean, like journey.
Yeah,
it's like we spend all this time.
You consider, right, when you're creating content. It's the structure, it's the titling, it's the marketing, it's what you're going to include in there, what it's going to be about. So you can't really talk about it with anybody else. People can get ideas, but they don't have the necessarily inside knowledge to be able to give you an opinion that you might say, yeah, that's a really good idea. Whereas when you talk with someone who's had success at what they do and they give you an idea, you say, oh yeah, that is a really good idea, because they might have this reasoning behind it that makes a lot of sense to you. So that's the advantage. Just like in poker, when you have really smart study groups, you're able to get better. Just like in anything. If you're in content, you have really smart groups, you're able to get better together. So I think it all works the same exact way. But it's still a lot of hard work too. I mean, it's tough work.
Dude, how do you think this my performance is on this podcast so far?
Good. You're getting more comfortable after hour one. Once we stop talking about you as much and we start talking about other subjects, then you become a little more comfortable. You know what I mean?
I don't I don't know what to say about myself, because I don't even know the shit in myself a lot of the times. That's interesting you say that.
Well, yeah, it takes
Plus, I got a lot of fucking opinions, even though I'm talking out my ass half the time, you know?
No, I think you have a lot. I think you have you have a different way of looking at it. And it's also an educated way of looking at it from your own standpoint. So you see things in a way that is going to be different than how a traditional person in poker might see things in a lot of these areas, because you've been able to have success and attract attention and gotten to know the industry in a completely different way than I think a lot of people that I know have. So I think that you bring a lot of insight. And I think that's what a lot of the new creators do, is they bring a lot of insight to how things could be done differently versus a traditional way of doing content, which is what the majority of people that are in poker right now have only known.
Yeah, not that it's intentional, but I for sure easily anyone could see that there's less Tony G's and Luke Schwartz and shit in the game, and that there was for sure a area for like somebody like me or whatever, or somebody 100%. Who's more of a character poker player.
Right, like people are so fucking boring, right? Like you don't. I mean, you want to see someone who's really invested in the wins and losses too. Like this is a lot of money to you, right? This like matters to you. And a lot of these guys who have been desensitized because they've been doing it for so long, if they win a 100K tournament, they're like, all right, back tomorrow to play 11. Like they don't really care. So if they don't care about winning, how can you as an audience care about them? And I think that's what happened. A lot of these poker players, like a Dan Coleman's not celebrating. Shout out to my guy, Dan Coleman. It's really hard to be like, well, if he doesn't care, why the fuck would I care? So you need to feed people that care, that get excited, that get sad, that's what Phil Humming does. He always cares a lot, right? I think people want to follow people who really care about what it is that they're doing versus someone who doesn't give a fuck what they're doing, right? And they're just kind of doing it to do it.
Even the competitive part of it, like Tony G or anybody, just like screaming in somebody's face, like, you know, or like I just love that shit. Like I get primally retarded. Like they just make they call me with queens versus aces for 20 bigs, standard shit. And then I'm just like, yeah, you fucking mutt. Like, I just like get amped up. Like, I love the like, or if I get someone to fold and they shouldn't have, you know, you can't really show that. But to myself, like all that stuff, the money too, and the like, the game of it, you know, is like, that's why I really want to advocate for exploiting people more, even though GTO framework I need much more of, and I don't run enough sims, and I like am learning some sense of that more to base stuff off of like what they should be doing here. Just like when you can fuck somebody in the face and make them like fold some shit that they shouldn't, or like just like, you know, you like fucking what they think is a block or bet, good spot to bluff you because you always block bet, but you really have it and they're a fucking dummy and they fall for your shit. It's like, that is so fucking fun. You think you can angle me?
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
I just dropped some shit
Oh,
where
I
my foot was.
thought you had like a sword. You're gonna pick a fucking sword or something like that.
Oh, I know, yeah.
I thought you had a tool, like a weapon down there.
I do have like a bunch of like props.
Do you have like handcuffs and stuff for the pegging?
Yeah. Say, oh my god, yeah.
Something about the pegging. You into that? You and your girlfriend?
Yeah, no. There's a clip of her. I think it's on my channel of people in Twitch chat.
Yeah, it is. That's not.
Did
it happen? Did it happen or what? What's going on with the pegging thing?
It's scheduled for 2023.
She's gonna peg you in 2023. Does people in the chat know what pegging is? Pegging is just when you use like a girl uses a strap on and then will fuck her boyfriend. Basically, that's what pegging means. Yeah.
I was wondering to see how like distinguished you would get with your answer.
It's
like,
not the first time this topic's come up on the podcast. Surprise! Me and Ebony talked about this in the podcast, I believe. Ebony Kenny, shout out to Ebony Kenny. She's always
shout out to her. She's mad fun. We were watching Michael Lonkar on his deep run and having mad fun in the chat. Like, you know, like she's funny. I like no delay streams, dude. I've been having fun like whenever I stream. I haven't been this month because I've been in Jersey and don't have my setup. And streaming is much less creative. Obviously, you're just like sitting there rambling, and for me, it's not as rewarding as like actually like editing. Yeah, it's just like fucking easy shit. But it's fun hanging out, you know, like but I definitely don't think of streamers as creators at all. Like they're just entertainers or something. It's some different type of category. But I guess there's some spectrum. Not I shouldn't say not creators because they are, I guess, but whatever. I don't even know why the fuck I'm talking about this point right now.
That's true. Pasa Delt says, Joey, you're an entertaining PLO player. Never get tired watching you play. Well, you haven't watched me play very much because I certainly haven't put up a lot of my gameplay over time, but we do got the 5K challenge going on out there. So the 5K challenge, I don't know, man. I'm good at running up $5,000 at these PLO games. So that's what I'm good at when it comes to a great game. But now I'm trying to learn these tournaments. And I got to say, they seem like some of the easiest things I've ever seen in my life. So I'm very excited to play some of these tournaments. And the thing is once you win one big score, people just assume that you know what you're doing. So like for you win a big score, the perception that people have of your ability at poker is greatly increased just because you won a big score. And now you have two big scores. So it's like, fuck, this guy must know what he's talking about. So a lot of people aren't even going to watch the poker play. They're just going to see the two big scores and associate you with a good poker player. And that's how fucking crazy this whole thing works out, is that...
Fuck you. It's not crazy. I am
It's all
good.
it takes, kid.
No, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it is pretty, it's too much. It's so funny with like Katie's family or other people to like explain. They're like, oh my God, you're so good. I'm like, no, like I actually suck most of the time or whatever. I mean, I'm overly humble, but because like, you know, my results are good. My poker tracker or whatever says I'm good, X good, whatever the fuck. But,
I think you're only going to get better and better, kid. I feel like you're going to keep getting better, man.
Or I'm way too blasty, like way too loose, just trying to degen it out. But I think I'm getting better and better. Honestly, I think that I'm getting better slowly. You know, it's hard. The biggest landmine is myself, and I think everyone or most poker players could relate to this. That it's just like, whether it's degen tendencies or not, or auto playing or whatever the fuck it is within them, that tournaments particularly are such like, I think of like a game of golf where it's like, I can go par, birdie, and then it's like triple bogey and my tournament's over, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like I've been playing so well, even make some plays that people don't usually make and feel great about it. But then it's just like you fucking punt and make such a degenerate decision to, you know, call this 3-bet with a pair that you're not getting odds. Does that mind? Whatever. A million examples. Bluff when you don't even think about like your fucking hand removal and you know that you don't have the right removal or it's not what you should be bluffing, they would say. And you convince yourself that you're making an exploitative play, that you're just a fucking idiot though. Or, you know, all these routes to punting and blowing it. And then it's hard to know what's what, right? And then it's hard to know if, like, okay, I'm 7 big blinds expected, all in adjusted, or whatever the fuck, over 7 big blinds per 100, or whatever the fuck. Like, you know, in the past whatever 1,000 hands, 50,000 maybe, or some shit. But it's like, does that matter if I'm punting ICM every single time I get in the final 18? I make a horrible play. I'm going to be expected to lose tons of money that way. So that doesn't really tell you anything. Like, you'll just never know. That is a great thing for all you degenerates out there. If you become a tournament player, you could just be like me and never find out if you're actually good or bad. Just keep getting lucky once a year, and then you're good.
Exactly. So it makes tournaments great. That's why they're so popular. Because that can happen.
Why do you really want to get into them because of the ghosting shit and stuff, or like what, or because the cash game stuff?
Well, technically, the most, I think just for what I'm doing, what I do with content, the best thing for me would be to learn tournaments. So if I want to put on tournament events and I want to put on events in general, the more knowledgeable I have about tournaments, which I think are really easy to understand and get better at, the better everything is. So your knowledge you have for the game, the way you can teach improves, the people's perception of your understanding of the game improves, and I just think it's very valuable to do in poker. Like, being known as someone who's good at tournaments, I think is very valuable.
Damn, you're just like a marketing machine over here. I don't even think about. It's almost. I'm a little disappointed to hear that you're studying the game you think is the most marketable, dude. I would have thought you a little more degen than that, to be like, yo, I'm interested in, 6-card short deck PLO. I'm just gonna play that.
Well, I think I already making that money is really easy. Like, it's not the way you make money at PLO Cash now is you just find soft games, and that's really boring. So there's only so much you can do to play these soft games. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, I'm gonna go hunt this guy, sit to his left, and just fucking play 60% of hands against him and just crush him, right? So it's not hard. It's the same thing over and over and over again for the most part. And plus, like, there's just not that much interest in PLO content. I think there is interest in PLO content, but then you got to play in the games, and I just rather not have to worry about it, really. I think that I think what my goals for the future are not to become. They used to be one of the top PLO players, and now I don't see as much point in doing that anymore. I just don't see why I'd want to do that. So,
how fucking dumb is 5-card PLO? Do you agree that it's peak retarded or no?
I don't know. I've never played it.
It's stupid. Well, just think about. I mean, you could use your brain and say that it's dumb.
I could, yeah. I don't know.
Come on, you don't have an opinion on 5-card PLO?
I think it'd probably be a fun game to play.
You're a sicko. I'm sorry to hear that. No, I
So.
think it's like, how much is too many cards? They're gonna play 6-card PLO?
I never played that either.
No, I don't know if that's a thing. It just
thing.
gets
Yeah, people do play
stupider.
that. Yeah.
They're all clowns. No, I don't know why I'm
insane.
saying that. I don't even know. Huh?
They're all insane.
I guess. Or it's just like bingo. It's like at some point, dude, I don't know. Who am I to judge?
This is how people in the chat, they're funny. So Mike D said Joe hasn't played a hand in 3 years. I've literally just uploaded 2 videos of me playing my 5K challenge like a month and a half ago. So this is how the people that comment like have no idea what they're talking about a lot of times. That's how it is at scale. Once you're on Twitter and you get a lot of comments, like, you just basically are getting people's opinions that have no fucking idea what they're saying. And they're either purposely saying what they're saying, or think they're being truthful and they think they're being honest, and they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. So
it's fun to see you get live tilted, dude. I've never seen this. You get live tilted at a comment like this. I'm happy to see this.
It's more of like that I get tilted all the
time. It's okay. Fuck them.
I get
live tilted, huh?
I get tilted all the time.
Live, like at a comment?
Not really, no.
Yeah,
the comments, you can take them one way. First of all, you got to get past them. Second of all, some of the people are just fucking idiots, right? So it's like, it is what it is. I don't know. I just try not to get too wrapped up about it. My girlfriend causes me enough emotional turmoil in general. I don't need to.
Sure.
I don't need to worry about people on the internet here.
But
Hector, Ryan's trying to be funny, but Joey doesn't know how to play along. Let me ask you a question, Hector. Do you think that's true? Do you think that I don't know how to play along with Ryan's jokes and be funny with him and do some jokes back? Is that what you really think, Hector Abreu? Is that what you really think?
Yeah, he's just trying to steer the ship, you dumb fuck.
I'm trying to steer the fucking conversation, buddy. It's my podcast. This is the way it works, right? It's how it works, man. I'm keeping this show on the fucking road, son. You don't think I know how to get really out of line? I'm one of the most out of line people in poker, man. Listen. Fuck's sakes, Ryan. These people up here. Ay. Kid, what do you got working out? What are you working at right now? What are you doing? playing more tournaments. You got your vlog coming up next week. What do you got in the works here?
Yeah, I got a vlog. I don't know when it's coming out. I've been driving back and forth to New Jersey. I'm trying to win this like leaderboard player of the year
That'd
for
be epic.
WSOP.
That'd be so epic if you take this leaderboard thing down, kid.
I know. It'd be so sick. So I'm playing every event, even PLO 8, which maybe I'll call you for a crash course.
I don't know how to play that game.
Well, you could tell me about the high half of it, and then I'll learn the low half from somebody else, and then try to merge ranges, or or I'll call Mike Matisow, who we got so fucked last night. We were at his table for the 6 Max 777 for like an orbit and a half. I doubled up, not through him. He donk led into me on 4, 5, 7 with 2 diamonds. He had ace queen off, didn't 3-bet pre-flop in the big blind. Donk led flop, donk led turn, and then gave up river. And I was like, man, why did I have to move my table? I want to play with Mike Matisow. People could sweat the stream. But anyway, so I'm going back and forth to Jersey. I got to go pick up this fucking stupid rental car that's somewhere parked in Manhattan after we finish this, and drive back, play the turbo, bust early, drive back. Why am I complaining? Everything is so awesome. I am so fucking lucky. I have less than 0% right to complain ever. But I'm playing every day. You know what I mean? And clicking buttons that, like I alluded to, I really am not entitled to click. I played so wild though the other day, like on stream. I think it's making me play a little bit more wild, trying to rank higher in the leaderboard or whatever. That I'm more incentive to like make a deeper run, so I think I can win the tournaments earlier, which is just not true. Right. And it's so funny, every single time I try to play poker like it's a fucking sport, like where it's like I'm amped up, I'm gonna will myself to win. You just cannot do that in this game. If you don't have cards, you can't fucking create spots that aren't there with your sheer like will to make a rebound or something.
It's very true, right? You got to be patient.
So I'm trying to fight that, and that's it. Got vlogs coming out, vlogs on deck, gonna stream and then take a week off. You know, I don't know, man.
Figuring it out.
I'm trying to
try and do a lot.
I'm gonna get more into tournament poker and do one of the biggest games there ever was. Or what did you say? I'm joking. Anyway, that was just a bad joke. That was
I want to put on a $500,000 pot in Omaha event too. The biggest PLO event biggest PLO tournament of all time. On an island.
Do any PLO tournaments have like antes ever? That'd be too crazy.
Yes,
right?
the newer ones do.
And does that change shit like dramatically or not enough or what?
A little bit. We're still figuring it out. I think the PLO Poker Master series, I did commentary for that. That was the first series I really saw with antes. So any PLO series I do in the future will have antes on it too, and we'll see how that changes. I think it.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Big blind, like a full big blind, or what? How much? Like.
I think that one. I'm not sure if it was a full big blind ante. I have to go ahead and check. I'm not. It's a good question though. I'm not really sure. It was the first time I've ever seen it in PLO tournaments.
That's cool. Either way, it should be big blind ante. Even if it's not a full big blind, which is funny to say, call it big. Is it called big blind ante because it's one big blind? I know it's because the big blind is putting in it for everybody, but
yeah, it's basically the big blind ante because the big blind puts in the whole one versus everyone putting something. Yeah.
Live poker sucks, man, though. I mean, it's so much more fun engaging with people, and I'm sad the World Series didn't happen, but like it's so slow. Like there's got to be a way to multi-table live or something. Maybe I think of this almost addresses all the stuff we were talking about before with fear of who you're playing against, is that if you could be sitting there live and you could only be there, but you could be playing on a tablet at your table another tournament that you need to be there to be playing, right?
Exactly.
Something like this.
It's an idea, right? I mean, maybe when you play online, you actually play in some sort of setting. I mean, that's basically what...
You go to the Whole Foods parking lot, everybody needs to be in that parking lot.
Well, everyone could have their own car, right? Why not?
Right.
What if you set a tournament series, everyone plays in the front seat of their car, and you got to piss in the bottle?
At least you're all in the same place. Sorry, go on.
What if we did a 24-hour stream, both playing in a car, only allowing each person to piss in bottles in that car and eat in the car too?
Yo, it was a big sweat when I pulled the dick out, like I said last time. You know,
you didn't think it was gonna fit in the bottle, right? You like.
Well, I knew it wouldn't, but I was scared that there was a cop loop coming because I had to pull it out to aim. One time...
And they were going to pull up and watch you piss underneath your steering wheel, and they would see that as they walk into the window.
I don't own a car. I don't know. I know that a lot of you guys who are regularly in cars, like, jerk off in your cars and shit like this. You be wild with the dick in cars. Mm-hmm. I don't know dick ranges of cars because I don't own a car in New York City. You don't need one. Right. So I'm much more scared, you know?
So you're more, because you don't have experience pissing and masturbating in your car, you're a little bit more nervous about doing it. Whereas someone who has a car and understands the safety of being in your own environment, they wouldn't be as scared. So you're just don't have as much experience in that situation.
Or the angle of it, like how low can they see? Also, is it illegal? Isn't your car, shouldn't it be like, no, never mind. That is a horrible law. I was gonna say, isn't it like an extension of your house? Like, shouldn't you be allowed to just be naked in your car or jerk off? But that's the worst principle I ever like almost said out loud.
You know, I never thought about that, buddy. I mean, we can certainly find out, right? Maybe hit a lawyer up. Maybe hit the same.
We could certainly go do some market research, like.
2.5 hours in, this is what happens sometimes. The conversations get to. Fireman Scott, live poker in Texas is the nuts. Houston is the PLO capital of the world. Call me when you're ready for a big PLO tournament, Joey. Shout out to my man, the fireman, motherfucking Scott. He's been making a lot of content. Fireman, you still making a lot of content? I see you playing at those Texas card houses down there. What's Fireman up to, man? Shout out to him, man. Phil, what else we got to talk about here, man? I feel like we covered a lot of good stuff.
I hope. I really, like I said, my performance, well, you said is better, a little bit better hour 2 than hour 1. I was on fire the last 20 minutes. We'll never get that potential podcast back, but those were great. I hope that there was some interesting stuff today. There's nothing else I feel like I want to say. There's nothing else I even came in really wanting to say. I just wanted to hang out and talk with you and like maybe come off as likable, which in turn makes me less likable because that's anti why people like me in the first place. So let me say something like very off-putting at the end to like counteract that, right? Like that'll work.
You think so?
No, but it would definitely not. What else do you think we should talk about?
I think we covered a lot of good stuff, brother. We covered a lot of good stuff. I appreciate the conversation. It was nice. It's nice chatting.
I hope.
I enjoy the pod. I mean, I have a lot of people. I have all kind of guests on the podcast, so I like talking to all the different people in the poker world. And I think that your story is very interesting, and you've had a lot of success with what you've done, and a lot of people are interested in the story. So I think it's good to learn more about you and learn more about how you think.
Yo, what took you so long to have me on, by the way? I was just curious. I mean, not that you needed any, like, this is better when a news story happens, right? Like, maybe to have me on, but.
Yeah, way better. Yeah. I mean.
But is that what you were waiting for me to win a bracelet? Like, what?
Well, I think a lot of the podcast guests, I haven't really had many people on the show this year unless they were related to Upswing. So I had on Upswing Canoe for his course for Upswing because they asked me to do it. I had on my buddy Dylan, who's my friend, but also he had a PLO course coming out. And then I did 4 podcasts just for quarantine week with a couple guys that I know. And then I did Phil Golf on Challenge. So I really haven't done many podcasts this past year and a half. And so I did a few podcasts during Mike Postle, but I just haven't really been podcasting. So the people I've been having on have been people that I tend to know already. So now that I came back, I want to venture out and I want to have more people on. So I think you're one of those people. And it's just, there's so many people I want to have on and that I know that you try to balance it and say, okay, how do I fit these people in there? And normally you ideally want to time it around if somebody else does something, right? That'd be kind of perfect. So this is like the perfect time to do it.
Well, I'm glad to be on. I don't know. I sound like, I think I should stop talking now because my ass is like covered in sweat. I've had to turn the air conditioner off this entire time so it doesn't pick up in the mic. Huh?
Sweating hard? Let's see.
I don't want to show.
No. No.
I don't think you could see the difference in color probably.
Yeah.
My little ass. But this chair, Katie came over and smelled my chair butt the other day and was like, oh, like, I drove for like half an hour also with the seat heater on because I'm not used to these stupid rental cars like earlier, but I showered since then.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I'm about to go drive back, play this turbo, go to New Jersey, fight tunnel traffic, you know.
Sounds like an adventure, kid.
Yeah, dude.
We'll be keeping up with you. If you want to follow Ryan on Instagram, which I imagine if you're listening this far, you do, it's at Ryan_Depaulo on Instagram. Twitter, what's Twitter name? Ryan Depaulo?
I need to get my shit straight. I don't know. Yeah.
Just search Ryan Depaulo's name on Twitter. You'll be able to find him on there. It's very easy to find him. And I'm going to be back tomorrow, new poker news, and then I'll be back on Friday with the WPT founder, Steve Lipscomb. Excited about that. Saturday, I'll put up a new video as well, too. I think that's what I got. Kid Landon, my guy. I think Landon's coming by today. Shout out to my buddy Landon. I know he's out there taking down tournaments. Or no, he only got second place. You didn't win a tournament yet, Landon. Maybe you should fucking get a coaching lesson from Ryan. Maybe you and Landon should do a session together. You two just rap about poker and see what can come up with it.
Yo, I could teach him a lot of things.
You definitely could.
Yeah, right.
Garrett says, Joey, tell Ryan that Cobra Cock Gary says hello.
Okay.
I don't. Shout out to Cobra Cock, buddy. Guys, that's it. Wrapping up. Smash that like button if you're still here. I'm greatly appreciated. Shout out to my man Jordan. I met up with him last night at the Venetian. Big shout out to Jordan up there. Hopefully your session went well after. Jason Drake says, fire podcast. I love it. Hope you guys enjoyed. That's it. Appreciate it, guys. Much love. Take care.
Bye.
Adios. Vamos.